This is Cybert signing into Red Alert 3, and welcome to Masters Semifinals. We have got a best of 7 between this red allied player in the north. This is DutchArmy. And the cyan allied player in the south. Give it up for DDF. It's the semifinals of Masters, a new Red Alert 3 tournament kicking off. A big thanks to Mediastorm for donating the prize pool for this event, for making this whole thing happen. It's cool to have a 1v1 event that has a little bit of a bigger prize pool than normal, even though it's still only $425. It is, of course, open to everyone to participate in. And it's just cool when people get involved and, do something for the community. Always appreciative of that. And, of course, we're also appreciative of Inspector Rage, a.k.a. Rage of Heat, over on Game Replays for organizing this event and making it all happen. Big thanks to both of those guys for making this event happen. And I'm excited to jump into the semifinals. If you haven't seen the quarterfinals, well, I guess you now already know 2 of the results. But you can check out the quarterfinal video if you haven't already seen it. I'm a little disappointed that this is an AVA. DDF is a player who has played many factions, and I mean, there's only 3 factions, so many isn't that many, all things considered. But he's played a decent number of factions recently, but I was hoping to see his Soviets out in force today, and we do not get to see that. He is going to be bringing his allied game to this tournament, and we saw him in the quarterfinals playing very well, and we've seen him recently playing well with allies, and the trend will continue for a long time. We only saw DDF play Soviets, but recently, he has gone full-on allies, and for this event at least, he seems to be sticking with it. DutchArmy and DDF both advancing from the quarterfinals to the semifinals with clean 3-0 series. And, well, we're going to see which one of these guys advances to the finals to face Dimon or Pika. On the other side of the bracket, we will have another best of 7 that will not be an AVA. I would be very surprised if Dimon switched over to allies. But yeah, this top 4. DDF, DutchArmy, Dimon, and Pika. Pika, the only non-D named player in this lineup. Third Refinery is up and running for DDF and DutchArmy. Both of them have that third up and running, but they've also kept their barracks around as well. Airfield gets deployed right on the front line. PK inside of this IFV, going to be able to take a couple of shots at the forces of DDF. DutchArmy, I don't know that he's actually ever beat DDF in a tournament or show match setting, so this would be a first for him, but he could have also been prepping and practicing. He did practice against Zugspitze very specifically in the show match that he played against Zugspitze. Vindicator comes in. That is a lot of IFV firepower and a very calm first couple of minutes here for DutchArmy and DDF, but the first major strike of that Vindicator going down has happened. A couple of jabs are here. They should be targeted down first, but the multi-gunner turret is also here, which will indeed push away at least some of these IFVs. Good control on those IFVs. Nice reverse moving there from DutchArmy. And DDF actually sells off the airfield right away. So his 4th refinery is coming up out there on the water. PK's moving forward. Running away are the jabs, but they do get blasted down by these IFVs. The Peacekeepers do hang out next to that multi-gunner turret. IFVs and Peacekeepers going to just go ahead and try and burst down this power plant. DDF has plenty of power, so even if that power plant goes down, he will still be fine. But 2 power plants would definitely send him into low power mode. He's now on the verge of low power mode, especially with that fresh refinery out there on the water, drawing additional electricity. And with that power plant going down, it's going to be slow building for the next couple of minutes here for DDF. He lost the multi-gunner turret here on the front line, and no, that is it. DDF gets outclassed and outmatched by DutchArmy in game number 1. Okay, that is not how I thought a battle-based beta AVA was going to go, but in 5 minutes, it is all wrapped up, sending us to game number 2. And on to the map, Deep Sea. For our next match, I think the best community-made tournament map, and we get to see it here once again. Spawning on the north side of the map, representing Team Cyan, representing Allies. This is DDF. And on the south side, no big surprise here. Plain red, plain Allies. It's once again DutchArmy. The map is Deep Sea. I'm personally quite a big fan of this map. I love getting to see it. It feels like the games are always good enough. I guess I have seen a number of tournament games on this map that turned out not very well, but it doesn't seem like it's a bad map design-wise. Of course, some players have good performances or bad performances on this map, but it seems like we've also seen a number of high-action, fun-to-watch games, probably very stressful to play. DDF dropping game number 1. A little bit concerning here that he got just kind of top deck and wrecked by DutchArmy that quickly. As soon as the snowball started rolling, it got very large very quickly. Peacekeepers could push forward and kill this Jav. They will let the laser lock land a couple of shots, but nope. Jav gets taken out right on the edge of range there, but does get taken out. Yeah, in that first game, DDF just got dumpstered after a very slow start. He gets that 4th refinery, and he is a little too strapped for cash to be able to actually stop the 5 IFV Peacekeeper invasion. And it just was a little bit too much pressure for him to actually be able to handle. Dog right on the edge of range, but the scout comes in for DutchArmy. He gets a pretty good vision. He gets pretty good vision of DDF's base, and DDF does pretty much the same thing. The scouting dogs escaping out to the water, and once again, DutchArmy is looking for a repeat. If he can clean up a decent number of these peacekeepers. Oh, that is a... Wow, that is a pretty early safety multi-gunner way back there. With the MCV placed there, he could have chosen to put the multi-gunner turret there, but he was really concerned that that IFV was going to try and go across the gap. He heads for it once more, but no, ultimately DutchArmy does turn around. IFV's looking for some angles, looking for some opportunities, but they won't find anything just yet. Once again, this 4 Peacekeeper hit squad going to be coming in here, 4 IFV hit squad rather, coming in here, and he's going to be denying DDF's ability to control this building. Very nice unit control here by DutchArmy. That is as good of body blocking as you can ask for, but it does allow DDF to get an additional multi-gunner turret up, and this has not gone how DutchArmy would have liked. 3rd refinery is up and running much sooner for DDF, but as I say that, DutchArmy gets his own 3rd. He's going to be closing that gap. He was a little bit slower to the oil derrick. He's a little bit slower to the 3rd base, and he almost took control of the middle of the map, but he didn't. So it feels like DutchArmy has tried a couple of things. He's hoping that things can go similarly to that last game, but it just isn't turning out. DDF's defense is a little too tight, a little too robust, and now he's actually added on the armor facility. So instead of going immediately for the 4th refinery, he's about 1,000 credits up. And instead of going immediately for that 4th refinery, he instead goes for the war factory, even sells off the multi-gunner turret at the front, gets tier 2 as well, so Guardian tanks could be on the menu, or cryocopters if he switches over to an airfield. And yeah, DDF is locking down this 3 refinery play. He has got his entrances sewn up pretty nicely. And I mean, yeah, the coverage isn't great over here, and DutchArmy is on the DDF side of the map trying to make something happen, but DDF is not letting anything through the armor. Second barracks comes up, but the armor facility is out for DutchArmy as well. And no Tier 2, but also a pack-up of the MCV. That means Tier 2 is a long ways away. Even if he had, started it, he would have canceled it by packing up his MCV and repositioning it. He is going to have a more forward position for multi-gunner turrets, and we'll see if these Riptides are able to do anything. A couple of jabs inside of these Riptides, and he will be able to get this oil derrick, so does deny that forward income, that future income, but 15 creds a second is not that big of a deal at the current moment. All right. Jab's getting way more shots than I thought they were going to be able to, and the Guardians get the crush as well, so that was actually a lot of cash down the drain. Those Riptides took so many more shots as they got clunked up on each other, and Tier 2 may be on its way, but it is not going to have much to affect. DutchArmy is feeling the pressure and feeling a little bit awkward here as DDF goes straight for Tier 3. They're tussling near the middle of the map, but it's soon going to be Athena cannons versus nothing, and now DutchArmy is truly in trouble, but he's in more trouble than he even realizes. Their economies are very similar to each other, but where they have put their money is very different, and now with this Athena cannon, the value per minute for DDF is about to go through the roof. Oh boy, this was... Oh, and he goes into the airfield. Okay, so it could have been airfield into Tier 2, but he does have a bit of a timer on this play. Buildings have been broken. DDF is looking to put the pressure on DutchArmy, and at the current moment, he is not expanding out behind this. Ooh, good combo here. Aegis Shield will be popped, but the multi-gunner turret is inside of it. Multi-gunner turret will go down. Double Aegis Shield to keep all of these units safe. DDF, if he takes damage, he will get absolutely annihilated by the massive army that DutchArmy has. Finally, DutchArmy is broken through the Aegis Shield. Third Athena cannon pops out, Mirage tank as well, and DutchArmy's army is suddenly falling to pieces. The further it goes, the more damage it takes. Mirage tank gets shrunken down. Guardians have survived for now. DutchArmy is going to be forced to pull back. That cryocopter coming in maybe a few moments too late. If it had been there 30 seconds earlier, it could have played a more significant role in this battle, but that was almost the jump on of DDF by DutchArmy. He almost was able to jump on and clobber him, but those Aegis shields were perfect. Just enough amount of time bought by DDF's Aegis shield. He holds off the army of DutchArmy, and barely, it felt like by just a couple of seconds, DDF was able to just take so little damage by comparison to how that could have gone. Multi-gunner IFV is here. Cryocopters are here as well, and it is going to be easy to clean up a couple of IFVs, but, well, if there are any Apollos or if there are too many IFVs, then this will be a different equation. IFVs get shrunken down. They don't get crushed at the current moment. I've never actually seen a big IFV crush a small IFV. I'm not even sure that it can. One cryocopter goes down, and this IFV is going to have to get out of dodge. He gets the harvester, but not much more than that. DutchArmy has evened things up, even taking the lead on the economy front. The kill of the harvester plus the kill of that oil derrick has added up, and now DutchArmy has the total resources gathered advantage, but only by an incredibly slight amount. Very few credits separate these two guys. Riptide coming through. Maybe a couple of jabs inside of this building. Don't even need them. Well, okay, you do need them, apparently, because he's got a bunch of them. One Peacekeeper is here. Riptide going to be trying to go for the body block, and these Riptides, well, you need more firepower than that, but apparently you don't, because he knocks down the refinery. Even if nothing else will survive, the Riptide cannot go toe-to-toe with those multi-gunner turrets, and the entire army gets caught not quite out of position as DutchArmy moves in, and DDF is able to reposition quickly enough and hold the front line. DutchArmy trying to poke and prod, sniping a harvester, sniping a refinery. DDF is going to try and re-establish his main base. still neither player taking a fourth. DutchArmy has been on the offense basically this whole game, and DDF has not been able to handle it. Those Athena cannons popped out so quickly, and at first it looked like DDF was going to have some free damage. And DutchArmy sort of just said, well, if I can't go through the front door, I bet I can go through somewhere else. What is this engineer's plan? He's actually found a spot. No, okay. I was like, did he find a spot that would allow the engineer to capture it without getting crushed? But no, he did get crushed. The harvester got pulled off the line. I love the idea. And if the gap had been at the back, maybe there was a chance that would have worked. DDF, maybe he didn't notice it right away or something like that, and it would have given the engineer enough time before the harvester drives back there and crushes him. But that engineer was not from a sold-off MCB. So actually, no, that engineer was just a regular engineer produced, and now DutchArmy has produced another one. A lot of Guardian tanks here and Athena cannons. DDF is DutchArmy, a.k.a. Libra. Going to be putting the damage out on that oil derrick. Cryocopters will be able to grab a couple of these Athena cannons. No, the Aegis shield does pop. Cryoshot is going to be fired back by DDF, and he is going to find a couple of units there. But no, the MCB is going for the rally and goes for the crush, gets a chunk of Peacekeepers as well. It's jabs and Peacekeepers, but also a spy for DutchArmy, and he grabs a Guardian, and he turns this battle around. DDF, his army falls to pieces, but he's still got some firepower waiting back at home. The MCB is the battering ram breaking down the front door of DDF, and DutchArmy is hoping that his Peacekeepers can break down these buildings fast enough. The answer is yes, apparently, but the Guardian tank can go for the crush. He doesn't go for the crush. DutchArmy runs his MCB directly over that Guardian tank, and now DutchArmy continues to shred the entire base of DDF, at the same time freezing that harvester, and this is a complete shutdown of Libra, aka DDF, by DutchArmy. Complete annihilation, and with that laser painter and a little bit of micro, this MCB is taking so much damage. This game is DutchArmy's, and this whole tournament might be. If he keeps playing like this, I'm not sure anyone's going to be able to stop him, but the series isn't over. 2 games does not a best-of-7 make, and DutchArmy needs to keep up this kind of gameplay to make it to the finals. Right now, he is looking phenomenal, but that was only 2 maps, and he has to survive in yet another battleground. And that battleground is the map Absolute Zero for game number 3. I mean, DutchArmy came through the quarterfinals with a clean 3-0, and it would be fantastic for him to come through the semifinals, defeating DDF with a clean 4-0 as well. Hopefully, we don't see that. I'm always the guy who's rooting for the ace match, and a lot of times that means I'm rooting for DutchArmy to get some wins. But in this case, DDF looks like the underdog. If this is your first entrance to competitive Red Alert 3, this is not how we expected this series to go. This is not how I expected DDF versus DutchArmy to start out. And Absolute Zero, it is definitely a different map and a different layout, but it is still an AVA. And legitimately, if DDF loses this, I almost think it might be time to try and switch up the faction, switch up the matchup to something else, because the AVAs have not worked out. Even that last one, DDF made the corrections from Game 1 to Game 2, which it seems weird for DDF to be the one making the corrections. DDF is legitimately one of the best players of the last 5 years. You know, top 5 player from the last 5 years. And we're talking about he's the one who needs to make the correction from Game 1 to Game 2. But he did it! He did it! He made the correction, and it looked like he had a pretty good plan. And it would have worked if DutchArmy had played that last game a little bit more laid back, a little bit... Oh my gosh, that MCB has taken so much damage. A little bit more passively, then DDF is actually able to really utilize those Athena cannons, like we see in so many other games, where the Athena cannons get so much value. Double vet, heroic, they're just climbing up those ranks as they get massive, massive value for the first player to get artillery. And yet, DutchArmy sees the artillery and says, I'm going to go into sicko mode. And he just turns the aggression up to 11. And that's really what did it in that game. The War of Navies has begun. Hydrofoils have their weapons jammers. They're trying to weapons jam everything and everyone out on the battlefield. And for the current moment, multi-gunner turrets need to be in higher numbers than 1 if they're going to have any effect. Both players have third refineries. DDF and DutchArmy both had oil derricks, but of course, DDF's oil derrick did get sniped. A couple of jabs are here, but the building has been taken, so DutchArmy is going to need to do something about those jabs. If they get inside of that building, that will cause a problem for him back at home. For the current moment, it is riptides on the high seas as DDF is looking... as DutchArmy is looking to put some pain on DDF, but it's actually going to be riptides from both sides. DDF looking to put a little bit of damage back at the main base of DutchArmy. He is going to be able to potentially snipe that harvester, which will be fantastic. You kill an oil derrick of mine, but I kill a harvester of yours. Gets the power plant as well. DutchArmy is still well-powered enough. Actually, no, he was low power mode for just a moment there. I always read the numbers backwards. DDF, I mean, he's on the edge of low power, but he's the one currently attacking DutchArmy, so he doesn't need to worry about that quite as much. Ore Refinery has taken a lot of damage. Riptide's moving out through the middle of the map. DutchArmy defends his harvester for now, but it's been off the line for 10 or 20 seconds, and he has lost out on a couple of loads of ore. So even though he has the same number of refineries, his economy, no, he doesn't have the same number of refineries. He fully was not able to deal with that building, and now DutchArmy is suddenly in the back seat, fighting for his life here in game number 3. It's only 4.5 minutes in, and he's lost his harvester and his refinery back at home. He is in a bit of a difficult situation. He might actually be going for the corner expansion as well. Finally, DutchArmy starts to strike back. He gets the Riptide. He's got the Hydrofoil there so he can silence that multi-gunner turret as well. And the refinery goes down. DutchArmy in low power mode momentarily here. And he is going to be able to defend his water expansion for the current moment, but this harvester has not been doing very much for DutchArmy. He decides to go out to the water. He is going to be expanding out there to the corner of the map. DDF, on the other hand, has a little bit of pressure. He may have to deal with a couple of Peacekeepers going to be poking at his front door, trying to cause problems, trying to cause distractions. And DutchArmy has not gotten that power plant back up and running. Cryo Shot will be getting called in. And if this Riptide can ever get its gun back online, it'll be able to break down that power plant in a moment's notice. Maybe he can just find the angle right there. No, there was 1/4 of a second where he was out of range of the hydrofoils, or the hydrofoil was being blocked by that power plant, and DutchArmy was vulnerable, but DDF wasn't able to fire the shot. Good unit control by both players. Very careful and precise almost the whole time. And, well, you can't weapons jam Peacekeepers, and you can't kill 3 of them fast enough. Gets the heroic status on that Peacekeeper. DDF now down 100 power, needs another power plant back up and running, and the perfect move here for DutchArmy. Takes the power down and rushes in with his army of Riptides. The Riptide numbers are similar for both players, but DutchArmy snipes a Harvester as well. That refinery is online, but the Harvester is offline, and DutchArmy fighting toe-to-toe, Riptide to Riptide against DDF. Multi-gunner turret barely in range there. DDF doesn't get the kill, and another refinery goes down. DDF desperate to get any kind of foothold here in the water, but it just has not happened. DutchArmy, meanwhile, hoping that his harvester can work for more than 30 seconds at any time, and it just doesn't seem to be happening. No. All right. DutchArmy actually sells off his expansion in the corner there, and he does not build a refinery out there. Riptide gets the gun down on that heroic Peacekeeper. Expansion onto the high ground potentially for DDF. I like that. There's been such a naval focus in this game. Neither player has gone for much in terms of air power, but DutchArmy lost that second refinery as well back at home, so he has been existing on the oil derrick and this one refinery. DDF climbing 3,000 credits ahead of DutchArmy in total resources gathered, and now he's got that third refinery back up and running, so the clock is ticking very quickly here for DutchArmy. DDF is going to be able to outproduce DutchArmy, and it'll almost not even matter. Oh, that's a bit of a mistake from DDF. Sends all of his Riptides forward, ends up getting one of them frozen. The Harvester once again getting targeted. Will he survive yet again? He does! The Harvester surviving time after time, but ultimately never working for very long at all. And finally, I think this Riptide will be able to suicide in and get the kill. Riptide's moving in. DutchArmy, if he's able to take this game and turn it around, that will be truly impressive, even from this situation. I mean, DutchArmy could still win this game, but the longer this goes on with the 3 refinery economy of DDF, the worse it gets for DutchArmy. Neither player teching up, neither player really expanding out or building other production facilities. It's just about controlling the water. It's just about fighting over this middle ground, and DutchArmy gets an expansion back up in his main base, but loses his naval expansion in the middle of the map that he fought so hard for. He's only gathered 4,000 credits from that ore mine. After all of this time of having that expansion, he only got 4 grand out of it. Power plant gets destroyed. DutchArmy has almost been shoved completely back out of the water, and DDF may finally be able to take this water expansion safely. He does still have a multi-gunner turret he needs to deal with. Hydrofoil comes forward, gets the lockdown. DDF's Riptide numbers are starting to just explode. DutchArmy no longer has the same advantage that he has been relying on with a strong naval front line. And there, DDF does get spotted on the high ground. His expansion has been found out. DutchArmy knows about it, but DutchArmy won't be able to do anything about it. Riptide goes down. Riptides from DutchArmy. They're looking to put a bit of pressure on, and any way you slice it, this is a hard game for DutchArmy from this point forward. Well, from a couple of minutes ago forward. But maybe he's going to be able to drag this one out. In the last game, he gained an advantage from not dragging things out, from going full-on aggression and looking to break down the front door. In this game, he really needs to drag things out. He's down to like 7 Riptides, a couple of Hydrofoils as well. I feel like we should be seeing a tech up from DDF or an airfield, something. Hydrofoils can't be in weapons jamming and in anti-aircraft mode. Oh, brutal. On top of all of that, DDF sneaks a Riptide around and gets the shutdown on the refinery in the main. DutchArmy had another refinery out just in time. He might be looking to close up on an airfield as well. We'll see. DutchArmy gets the kill. His front door is open. Riptide's going to be getting shut down by the Hydrofoils a little bit. And DDF playing this one out so cautiously, so slowly, gets his 4th refinery up and running. 4 refineries versus 1 oil derrick and 1 refinery for DutchArmy. And DutchArmy, even if he takes that high ground expansion, DDF will know about it. DutchArmy, he played a good game 1 and a good game 2. I even played a decent game 3, but DDF has just had his number for the last couple of minutes, and it's not a particularly complex game. Riptides all day, all the way. And this might be some kind of a Hail Mary if it's an engineer or something to try and capture the MCV. And no, he just actually goes for the freeze on the refinery, and that Riptide will actually pay the price. He gets slowed down by his own cryoblast. But the Assault Destroyer is now here, and that should be GG. That should be lights out for DutchArmy. Okay, we won't have a shutout. Okay, if DutchArmy somehow wins this game. But we shouldn't have a shutout. It won't be a clean sweep series. It will not be a repeat of the quarterfinals, of course, for either one of these players. And maybe it can even take us all the way to Game 7. DDF has woken up. Maybe it was just those first 2 matches. Maybe he doesn't like battle-based beta, and maybe he doesn't like Deep Sea. But he has certainly woken up at this point, and he is ready to go. Airfield would have been nice 3 minutes ago. In this case, it just is too little too late. Harvester gets sniped down, back down to just 1 working Harvester once again. And these Riptides keep getting the deny on that MCV. The GG comes out, and DutchArmy drops game number 3. Okay. We can all breathe a sigh of relief. DDF is not going to go belly up and just roll over. And you hope nobody rolls over here on this map because they're liable to get burned in the satellite drop zone of Mers Landing for game number 4. You guys know the matchup. You guys know the colors as Mers Landing, one of those maps, I think just a port over from Uprising, but one of those maps that we have seen in the tournament pool for a little while, and we get to see it again here. I feel like most of the time I see this map, it's a bit tumultuous, it's a bit chaotic. It tends to be pretty short games. The layout of the refineries lets you get 3 refineries okay, but there is kind of a weird amount of, I don't know, spacing and terrain breakup, and I don't know, there's something about this map and the design of it that tends to lead to short, explosive games that that don't really get to the late game. And we'll see how this one goes. I feel like I haven't seen many AVAs on this map, though. It's going to be straight into an armor facility. War Factory is powered online for DutchArmy, and that is not what I was expecting. I was honestly expecting him to go airfield or 3rd refinery right away, but he does neither. And for DutchArmy in this tournament, in this series, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. He has done this a couple of games in a row, and then Game 3, maybe he even tried to sneak a couple of IFVs out, but I think Game 3 he just went straight Riptides. So he did it Games 1 and 2, and now he's doing it again here on Game number 4. Multi-gunner IFVs, they have been given a lot of trouble to the heavy infantry forces of DDF, but we'll see what he's able to do. It's just a dog scouting the other side of the map for DDF. DutchArmy looking to poke and prod. If he can get a couple of jabs, then these multi-gunner IFVs will be worth it. You know, jabs, they're not free. They're not that expensive either. But you get 3 or 4 of them, and that is a decent amount of cash, especially in the early game, all lined up. Multi-gunner turret will scare away this IFV. And DutchArmy, he now has 4 Peacekeepers on the ground, and he has 3 Peacekeeper IFVs. So this is a decent fighting force, even against the far superior numbers of DDF. DutchArmy will be able to trade reasonably well. He actually did not get as many kills. Yeah, there's 3 Peacekeepers very low on health, and a Jab very low on health as well. So that was moments away from another 1,000 credits of infantry disappearing. If DDF had taken a couple of more shotgun blasts to his infantry horde, that would have been lights out for another 1,000 credits of infantry. But for the current moment, they do manage to survive. First Guardian tank is out for DDF. DutchArmy has gone tier 2 as well. He is matching DDF in Guardians, and he is matching DDF in the pace of the game. DDF really needs to take this game just to reset the momentum. It is a best of 7, so he can give up 1 more game, but you never want to be against the wall. You never want to have that match point looming over you if you can avoid it. DDF ready to go toe-to-toe, and DutchArmy is like, well, I don't want to quite commit everything to this fight, and they both end up backing off for the current moment. DutchArmy hoping to sneak in a Riptide He won't quite find everything that he was looking for, but this Riptide may be able to escape. Guardian Tank will get one more shot, and bye-bye to that Riptide. Dog comes in for the scout. DDF is going to be able to get eyes on what... DutchArmy, excuse me, is going to be able to get eyes on what DDF is doing. Meanwhile, the scout does get denied by DutchArmy. It's pure mechanized vehicles from DutchArmy versus DDF's method of including a lot of infantry in, and even an engineer medical tent. You love to see it. Look at all those healing bars across those infantry, and it's going to be a Guardian Tank war. It is 6 or 7 on the side of DutchArmy and only 5 on the side of DDF. But again, that massive infantry army, they can be a little bit of a coin flip. If the infantry close the distance with the Guardians, they can do massive damage, but if the Guardians get the crushes, then they can just run unanswered around the battlefield. MCV brought off the line to be a bit of a battering ram. Engineer gets sniped. Infantry haven't closed the distance yet, so for right now, it's just DutchArmy running over DDF's forces one by one. MCV gets one crush, doesn't get a second, and that is a lot of jabs, but they all go down. The crush is massive, and the trade is pretty equal from both. Those Peacekeepers never able to get the damage done. That MCV actually took a ton of health loss. DDF survives. He gets a couple of critical kills on the Guardian Tanks of DutchArmy. He really evened out the Guardian Tank numbers between the two players. Their unit counts are almost identical here, 28 and 27. Most of that being infantry now for both players. Couple of IFVs, a couple of Guardian Tanks on the side of DutchArmy. I'm not sure if DDF can actually really walk across the map and do much. We'll see if he can group everything up. He may be able to burst down DDF, but if DDF is able to control this space like he was, if DutchArmy is able to control the space like he was in that last engagement, then DutchArmy is going to be able to hold this off no problem. Walls are starting to get set up. Zugspitze famously using walls as force fields to separate out his opponent's armies and sort of divide and conquer, living up to the name of the game. Commanding your forces to divide and conquer. DutchArmy has a lot of Guardian Tanks, and those nearly led him to victory minutes ago. DutchArmy happy to sit on this 3 refinery game, and DDF as well happy to sit on this 3 refinery tier 2 game. Second wall segment goes up. DutchArmy. Okay, he does back off. He does reverse move away. DutchArmy trying to cross map, trying to find some kind of an angle to sneak something by, but we'll see if it even matters. Guardian Tanks rush to the forefront, and it's going to be difficult for either player to get in and crush. There's a decent number of jabs here on the front line for DDF. We'll see if he's able to actually do anything with them. The body blocking is good. The IFVs are here from the side of DutchArmy, and the tanks are mostly going to try and back on off those jabs, getting some good shots off laser painters for both sides, making those units extremely squishy on the front line. They just pretty much pop instantly. Force fields getting set up. Nope, they get canceled. The MCV packs up, and DDF looking to defeat those wall segments so that DutchArmy cannot do anything with them. The MCV gets shrunk, and DutchArmy is now in a bad spot. He packed up his MCV, hoping to use it as a battering ram, and that gets denied. Jabs being kept safe. They're getting those critical shots off, and DutchArmy taps out once again. DDF finds the win, resets the score. It's 2-2 as we head to Game 5. And that takes us to the never-ending canyon that is Fire Island for game number 5, and the real difference maker, the real momentum decider between these two. DutchArmy and DDF Games 1 and 2, it looked like DutchArmy was just going to run away with the series, a clean 4-0. And games 3 and 4, they were not, the reverse. They were not shutouts. They were not super dominating games, but they were competitive until DDF got just a little bit of an edge, and then he just kind of slams it into overdrive. Took him a little while to get there on the naval battle map, but he got there. And DDF, he is no slouch. He is not giving up in this series. Double refinery coming online. No sneaky fast airfields in any of these games. We saw those kind of tactics in the quarterfinals. Some fast, some aggressive games where you know that, you're going to, well, you're very confident that you will beat the other player. I guess you never know for sure, but you're very confident, so you go for something aggressive, get the games over quickly, get to the next round as quickly as possible, and don't give them an opportunity to draw the game out and maybe make some mistakes and then, maybe get a win against you. Engineer jumps inside of that Riptide, so DutchArmy is going to try and take the second oil derrick. He's going to try and take that away from DDF. MCV on the move for DDF. This is one of those maps where you can pretty easily get a third and a fourth refinery, especially when you're allies. You can plant your MCV in one spot and get your third and your fourth refinery, and it's a relatively defensible location. Nothing like the Yui games where it's immediately going for the turret pushes and it's immediately going into the realm of chaos. Now, this is going to be a little bit more straightforward. This is going to be a little bit more normal from both of these players. And after 4 games, which have sort of reset the score, put both of these players on even footing, I'm glad to see that they are going for a little bit more macro-oriented games. They are looking to kind of play this one out in the longer term, not necessarily looking to immediately end it and go to a game number 6, which will turn us into a potential decider game. Either the decider of the series or the decider of sending us to game 7. Peacekeeper's going for the kill on the northern oil derrick. Airfield will be the choice for DutchArmy. DDF gets his third, but hasn't made his production facility choice yet. He did keep around that naval yard, and he did keep producing Riptides. So he is going to have a decent number of Riptides out on the front lines. Those won't do very well against aircraft. We'll see what DDF is able to do against the Vindicators of DutchArmy. And this is where DDF is like, okay, all right, I made a little bit of a mistake here building so many Riptides, but I've still got time. I can get out an airfield. Oh, he went Riptide. Oh, he went Refinery. Oh, so he's going to be so long until he actually gets out an airfield of his own and starts producing Apollos. These Vindicators are going to have another minute or so before they're really threatened. And yeah, it's going to be Riptide v. Riptide, but Riptide, one side has Vindicators. Nice bomb splitting there by DutchArmy. This is just free value for him. DDF maybe not realizing the situation exactly. I'm not sure that he should have pushed onto the other side of the map like that. Airfield is up. First Apollo hasn't been started. DDF. Oh, he went tier 2 as well. DDF spending so much cash he needs to get out Apollos. All right, first Apollo is out, and that'll be the last free Riptide going down. He didn't even have advanced aeronautics either. We saw the advanced aeronautics upgrade land right there, as I'm sure DDF was a little bit late to that party and a little bit panicked in his response, but he did eventually get the advanced aeronautics, and he went tier 2. He immediately gets a cryocopter, but it's down to half health. There are so many targets here, and now DutchArmy is ready to go toe-to-toe with the Harvesters, once again shutting down the economy of DDF, just like in game number 1. That cryocopter takes so much damage it goes down. The cryocopter gets broken, and now suddenly there is no real defense other than an MCV. That cryocopter was supposed to delay this army and help DDF hold the front line. Now the only thing helping him do that is his MCV. Fortunately, the refinery is getting back online. Both of the oil derricks have gone down, so DDF at least has the advantage of knowing that his economy is superior to Dutch armies, at least when all of the harvesters are working. DDF gets the scout with the Apollo as well, so DDF sees basically everything. He sees the cryocopter, he knows sort of the state of the game, and that economic advantage is huge for DDF. But it is shrunk a little bit as DDF has to rebuild that harvester. Hasn't gotten as much value as he wanted from some of his units. That cryocopter did almost nothing for DDF before it went down. Are they just going to cross map? Cryo shot on top of the boot camp, and it's going to be a dead refinery on the other side of the map. In the middle of the map, Dutch Army is hoping to cut off these forces of DDF. He's going to kill the refinery. He might get the harvester as well. Nope, all of the Javs jump inside of the Riptide, and he's just going to try and escape. Apollos or Vindicators going down on the deck there, but these Riptides may be trapped. Now we'll see if Dutch Army's cryocopters can actually freeze them and lock them in place. Dutch Army makes it 3 refineries to 3, but he's about to make it 3 refineries to 2. Cryocopter shows up, gets the shrink, but not the freeze. Harvester going for the crush, gets 1 jab, gets another, and the Vindicator cleans up the 3rd. Dutch Army causing more and more problems for DDF, but in this moment, he gets the kill. Dutch Army gets the kill on the harvester of DDF. And that economic advantage, which should be so robust for DDF, is minuscule. It's 1,000 credits closing in on the 10-minute mark. Unfortunately for Dutch Army, he built a second airfield that he doesn't have much use for, so he sells it off. A couple of Dolphins here. I love that DDF got a couple of Dolphins. Always nice to have a couple of naval units to be able to do this exact thing. Harass that harvester, do a bit of damage to the refinery, and then always sneak around the map and look for those power plants. Those random power plants that allied players love to drop in the water in random spots. You hunt those down, and okay, this is also fine. 2 cryocopters that far from the front lines? Yeah, that's also fine for DDF. He doesn't mind. Wow, that's a lot of anti-air firepower from Dutch Army. Bit of a wash on both of the cryocopters from both players, from all of the cryocopters. 2 of them were off on a wild goose chase, and then one of them got its health bar taken so low that it had to head back home and get some repairs. Prospector is here for DDF, ready to re-expand to his main base, but he hasn't actually given it the command to turn it into a command hub. All right, he will do that now. So he doesn't want to move his MCV. He doesn't want to have any offline moments with this Tier 2. And he's got something else queued up as well. Oh, he might have actually had a refinery ready to go. This is very frustrating to have the refinery sitting completed in your build queue, but you're waiting for the build radius from that command hub. 2 Dolphins. Nope, 2 Riptides shrunk down on the north side of the map. 4 refineries for both players now coming back online for DDF. We'll see how long this other refinery is online. 2 Riptides showing up. Both players have actually stabilized a bit and gotten to a place where they're comfortable. Defense shows up here for DDF. He will be able to clean up these Riptides very quickly. Takes minimal damage. Ultimately, he trades 2. He loses 1 Riptide, and DDF kills 2. So that was nice for DDF. And, well, things have stabilized, but Dutch Army is trying to destabilize the situation. He's trying to tip over his opponent a little bit here, put him on tilt for the next game. Athena Cannon comes out. Perfect shrink timing there by DDF. Second Athena Cannon is here. It can actually outrange some of these units now. Jabs on the front line for Dutch Army. Cryo Shot could be a massive killer of Dutch Army's army. He would have to pop that Aegis Shield, and it would give DDF a moment to potentially swoop in. This is the danger of Fire Island, but in an AVA, the danger is equal. Both players have that cryo ability. Both players have to contest with this middle of the map. And Triple H's shield will be more than enough to block any cryo super weapon that is unleashed on this army. Ooh, one cryocopter gets knocked down. There's still 3 more cryocopters on the front line, though, for DDF, though. Oh, this double Dolphin attack squad from DDF sneaking around the edge of the map. DDF taking some damage back at home. On the front line, DDF is taking damage, but he's striking some damage against Dutch Army around the fringes. No big cryo super support power coming in. And I feel like this is what we were just waiting for. Airfield goes down, so no more cryocopters and no more refueling. Is Dutch Army just going to chip away at DDF until he's dead? Here's the big push forward. Cryo shot fires off. A couple of jabs will be getting caught. A couple of peacekeepers as well. Dutch Army is going to move forward. He's going to be able to strike this army and split it in half. Cryocopters in the air going to be targeting down what they can, and Dutch Army decides to back off. The shrinks come through. The Athena cannons are extremely valuable. Well, where is that counter-attack cryo shot on top of this army? Reverse move bug catches that Riptide. I don't think Dutch Army intentionally sent it backwards into that Peacekeeper army. And where is that hit back from the Cryo Blast on the side of DDF? He is not calling it in. And the only thing that I can think of is somehow he accidentally didn't get the cryo shot. But if so, then, well, that explains why this damage continues to come down. The entire army of DDF has pretty much been burned down by Dutch Army. Cryocopter goes down. Apollo comes through, but he gets blasted as well. And DDF taps out, slowly burned down laser by laser, and Dutch Army takes the momentum in this series. Game number 6 will finally take us to match point. Dutch Army has to win one more game to advance on to the finals to be guaranteed $100 from this tournament, and DDF needs to win 2 games in a row. And welcome to Industrial Strength, always featuring that garage in the middle, walls coming up in the north. What does DDF have planned for us? This is a map that often does lead to pretty cool games, pretty fun matches to watch, and yet we still don't see it all that often. It can be a little bit awkward to play, a little bit difficult. One of those things where the logic of the game says that there is a building here, and it cannot be, traversed by an attack dog. But of course, visually, I'm pretty sure a dog could manage to jump over that teeny line in the ground. Ooh, that would have been bad. Dutch Army almost gets the kill on DDF's engineer, but both players each secure 1 oil derrick. And despite the early walls, despite the posturing of DDF, nothing actually happens. Now, Dutch Army is going to add his own safety walls. And, of course, from this position next to the wall, the MCV is still safe, but can reach this 3rd refinery location. And, well, in a previous game, these guys were very happy to sit on 3 refineries for a long time. Power plant comes up. Dutch Army sends out the IFV. Could just be going for the oil derrick, or he could be going for the garage on the high ground. Multi-gunner turret gets deployed, and DDF has not actually started that refinery. I'm not actually sure what he was going for instead. He did place a boot camp. All right, well, Dutch Army has the garage now. He did not go for the 2nd oil derrick, the oil derrick of his opponent. But wait a second. Hey, this MCV, that's in the wrong spot, buddy. That's not where your MCV is supposed to be. And DDF, he may not realize exactly what is coming his way just yet. MCV packs up. MCV crosses the line. Momentary low power mode here for DDF. and they are both going to be in a dangerous position in terms of power. If this turret push continues, they're going to be having to spam out a couple of power plants, extra power plants to keep themselves on the line. Barracks gets deployed by DDF. I like that move. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the barracks on the outside of the wall as well, so we will kind of be trapped here. Riptide's going to be helping to shut down this barracks immediately. Laser Lock going to be coming in here for DDF. I love this from DDF, immediately shutting down this aggression from DutchArmy, but DutchArmy will get the better turret position at the front, so we will have that position of strength. However, DDF has made the inside of the base safe, at least for now. Little bit of leapfrog with these turrets, and oh man, that garage is so powerful right now. All of these multi-gunner IFVs getting those repairs every moment that goes down. This refinery is going to be knocked down, and there's almost nothing that DDF can do about it. He does have that position to potentially get... Oh, he went tier 2. He went assault destroyer instead of going for that third refinery, which would have kept his economy online. He went tier 2, and oh, those peacekeepers able to land a couple of shots on the jabs right at the edge of range of that black hole armor. But this would be incredible. This build from DDF would be incredible if he also had the garage. But the garage is held by DutchArmy, and there's very little that DDF can do about that while he is fighting for survival. DDF, he is up against the ropes here, and DutchArmy, even if he loses this game, he still gets another shot to take this series in the next one. So he doesn't mind going all aggression here in game number 6. His tournament life isn't on the line. He's got something to fall back on, and now he's just keeping DDF's options as low as they possibly can be. Look at that, right on the edge of the black hole armor, and DDF collapsing here in game number 6. Nothing left for him as he falls down and out of the tournament. DutchArmy, for perhaps the first time ever in a tournament series, will knock down DDF in a best of 7, takes the series 4-2, but denies us the ace match. On the other half of the bracket, DutchArmy is going to go up against Dimon or Pika. Big thanks to DDF for the games. He will take 3rd/4th. He will earn himself $50 from this event, but he will go no further in the Masters. And that sends us back on Battle Base Beta for Game 1, and not an AVA. On the north, playing yellow, this is Dimon. Bringing that Empire action to this semifinals. In the south, playing red, this is Pika. And I guess if Pika wins this best of 7, DutchArmy and Pika are both allied players who typically choose red as their color. They're going to have to fight it out as far as who gets red and who has to play off color. Dimon rushing through the middle of the map. Empire players definitely can have the advantage in the middle with their multi-dojo deployment, but ultimately, a lot of allied players are not going to fight heavily for the middle against a Soviet or against an Empire player. And oh, the walls don't actually, they get brought up, I think, a little bit too quickly. And Pika is going to be losing a little bit of cash from that burst drone. But there, the burst drone will go down. And all right. Pika can get back to things as usual. Dimon, a top performer always, but Pika has a number of times gone toe-to-toe with him. Both of them coming through the quarterfinals 3-1 in their respective series. Pika dropping a single map to Yui. Dimon dropping a single map to Green Alert. And I think those were definitely the two most entertaining series of the quarterfinals. But I think Dimon versus Green Alert was the most entertaining of the quarterfinals. It had those 2 first games, which were very entertaining. The Mecha Bay is here, but a big 2,500 dollar cash boost coming in here for Dimon. Pika really is going to want to get eyes on that. The Apollo comes through. The Apollo will not... Okay, there. He finally goes for the scout. All right, here we go. Pika's got the Apollo. He can easily get the scout everywhere, but he is not going to see super deep into enemy territory. He will see a random engineer walking through the middle of the base, and that could be a bit of a red flag, but there is nothing 100% confirmed here for Pika. MCV onto the high ground. Okay, he seems to suspect something. He doesn't know exactly what, but Pika went up onto the high ground with his MCV, and now he is backing down. He's either going to set up here on the low ground or go out to a water expansion. And for the current moment, it is the low ground. He is just putting the brakes on this game. Dimon has a winning match history against Pika, but a number of those series have been close. They could have gone either way. They could have been flipped. Pika has maybe even taken a couple of show matches or a couple of tournament series against Dimon, but the usual is, and I mean, some of those were like best of 5 or best of 3s. Tank Busters are here, but so are a lot of Tengus. Multi-gunner turret gets jumped on. Vindicators can't really safely land. Second airfield gets deployed, but that one won't be long for this world either, and Dimon just goes full-on aggression, breaks down the front door, and he's going to be forcing this MCV into packed-up mode onto its tracks and going to be forcing it to go into its aggressive stance. Dimon pushes back that MCV, and for now, Pika is just going to be taking a bunch of damage. I think Pika kind of realized that this was a bit of an all-in, that Dimon had committed a lot to make this attack happen. And no! Pika will not fight anymore. He just gives it up, and game 1 goes to Dimon. Let's see where Pika takes us in game number 2. And that will take us to the map Icebreaker, which this is the first time I have ever seen this map, so I'm excited to see it here. And I don't actually remember selecting this for the map pool in this event, but I'm glad that it's here. I'm glad that we get to see it here in the semifinals. And if it's a good map, I hope to see it in lots more tournaments as well. The map pool for Red Alert 3 has been very static for about a decade, and it is, you know, sort of slowly expanding out. We're getting to see more and more games on different maps, you know, after 10 years of the same 7 maps. 2 oil derricks there, little pocket corner expansion there in the top right and top left, and then some more exposed and open expansions, but that are much closer to your starting location. And if this terrain was flipped, if this wall was over here, then it would be a very safe 3 almost pocket 4 bases, where you can make a little defensive pocket between those 4 bases and really get a lot of value out of those refineries. Peacekeepers showing up here for Pika, but he's not going to be able to accomplish all that much with them. We'll trade out against these Imperial Warriors, but that's never a favorable trade for the allied player. So every Peacekeeper that goes down is a little bit more value for Dimon. Got a decent-sized village in the middle of the map. Airfield is out also for Pika. And I feel like the building size dots on this mini-map are either a little bit oversized or this map is just a little bit smaller than most of the other maps, and so the dots appear quite significant on that mini-map. Dimon will lose control of this structure. Pika putting on a bit more pressure. And Dimon still has his MCV for now. We'll see how long that lasts. Wow, okay. I didn't think he was going to sell his MCV again. I said that almost as a joke, but no, Apparently, I'm a bit clairvoyant in this moment. However, the engineer heads backwards, so Dimon is trying to hide this. He doesn't want Pika to know that the MCV was just sold and that Dimon is once again planning a big, aggressive move. Apollos may have barely spotted the engineer there. Seeing a random engineer after all of the barracks have already gone down is definitely a tell, but the players don't always register that that's a random engineer. They don't always read it that way. Tengu transforms, will go for the kill on that jab, denies the building capture of that javelin, and double Tengu transform inside of the walls there. Normally you can only fit one inside, but when you transform them as you're flying over like that, you can get two inside, and Dimon is not having the same success in Game 2 that he was having in Game 1. He's at least able to deny one of these refineries entirely for the next moment or minute or two until this Vindicator can deal with that Tengu. And now with no MCV and with only Tengu production to hold him over, Dimon is going to have to keep up the aggression and find some better trades for the rest of this game. He may be able to take this oil derrick, which would definitely be a nice get, but it would not be the end of the world. That's a mistake. Whoa, Dimon literally just not paying attention as Pika cleans up two Tengus completely for free. No real, cross hull damage or anything. And this Harvester, it gets taken offline, but that is not much damage for an entire Tengu. Oil derrick has been nabbed by Dimon, but this is going terribly for Dimon. It doesn't mean he's totally done. It doesn't mean he's down and out. He's doing a really good job of denying resources from Pika. When you're an allied player with only 2 refineries and they keep getting taken offline like this, it can be very frustrating. And as you can see, Pika has been scraping the bottom of the barrel for a long time in this game. Dimon is not really letting him get any resources gathered. Tier 2 for Dimon as well on that Mecha Bay. Tengu once again getting chased down. Engineer will get sniped. Dimon finds the way. Finds a little bit of value here and there. Getting tier 2 also gives him a real opportunity with, well, now the rocket pod upgrade, but with these Chopper VXs. Apollo's gunning down these Tengus. 2 more Tengus going down. Well, now the only thing that has really gone Dimon's way in the last minute or so is that oil derrick deny. The barracks is still there for Pika, so he can potentially get the engineer out. Strikers do get spotted. They do manage to clean up one Apollo. A little bit of value there for Dimon. But having that tier 2 does mean he's not trapped only building Tengus. For the next couple of minutes, Dimon will be fine on the economy front. A tier 2 Mecha Bay is not great on 2 refineries, but 2 refineries plus 2 oil derricks, that is definitely doable. 2 refineries, 1 oil derrick, it's a little less comfortable. And I should expect that Pika will be looking to annihilate that oil derrick soon. Tengus and BXs catch those Apollos, but not enough damage to clean up the second Apollo. 3rd refinery is up and running. Finally, Pika is feeling a little bit more comfortable. 3 refineries plus an oil derrick. He can actually stand against anything that Dimon can throw at him. Well, maybe it'll take a minute or so before he actually, feels that economy. But in the future, Pika will be able to go up against anything that Dimon throws at him. But I mean, 6 minutes into this game, and Dimon has been 5k up in total resources gathered for much of this game. That's the economy difference and what Dimon was able to keep Pika at. 2 oil derricks, 2 refineries. When you sell your MCV is pretty okay if you're Dimon. But that gap will be shrinking as the game goes on. Dimon's harassment has reduced significantly. He's got a decent number of Tengus, though. He actually has enough Tengus to break down some of these power plants and snipe some of these buildings. Peacekeeper going across the map, looking potentially to take a couple of more buildings. That's another thing. If Pika was able to get any jabs inside of those buildings, he could actually just do some... Oh, that engineer gets spotted. But Dimon doesn't really realize it. He doesn't transform a Tengu. He might send one in a moment. A little bit of cross-mapping going on as Dimon looks to set up a multi-pronged attack. He sends in 2 Tengus in the north as his strikers come in with these Tengus in the main base of Pika. Transform there, saves one of these strikers, but the others have gone down. A couple of Tengus eliminated, but the majority of the force is still alive. Apollo's taking a bit of extra damage there as this IFV is giving the Tengus some trouble, but it's the Vindicators going down on the deck that is the real problem for Pika. No air forces as Dimon swells up his Tengu VX army, and he gets some damage done. Finally, some significant damage done against Pika. Pika's not down and out just yet, but he's taken so much more damage in the last minute than the previous 4 minutes before that. Another Harvester going down. These Tengus right on the edge of winning the game. Pika keeping his IFVs alive, keeping his Apollo overhead, and hoping to deny any more damage. If this War Factory goes down, Pika's going to be in a... Well, he'll basically be dead at that point. Apollos will have to now deal with these Tengus. Multi-gunner turret will get some free shots off, and more Tengus going down to this IFV, this fully heroic IFV doing massive damage for Pika. That IFV might be the only reason he is still in this game. Jabs in the middle, in the buildings, take down a retreating Tengu. And Dimon still has a chance to potentially take this game. That engineer didn't get sniped, and Dimon has had a reverse Uno card handed to him as Pika goes up to 3 refineries, 2 oil derricks. He has almost evened up the economy, but he just hasn't managed to get the total resources gathered on his side yet. His income has been far more significant for the last couple of minutes, but again, the Harvester harassment from Dimon is what keeps him in these games for so long. So many times Dimon wins games off of harassment-style tactics, and now he catches 2 Vindicators in the middle of the map, loses a Tengu for it, but he actually scouts that that Harvester hasn't even been rebuilt. Multi-gunner turret is going to get another couple of free shots here. These Tengus are in very dire straits. Heroic IFV is here. These Tengus very low on health. Tsunami tanks coming in. They actually force the sale of that refinery, so Pika, without the War Factory, without the second airfield, is having a real trouble actually stopping the forces of Dimon. Another Harvester denied, and Pika, despite all of that economic potential, hasn't been able to actually keep his units producing consistently. More Tengus going down. Dimon's army is in tatters, but he has been keeping up the pressure on Pika and keeping up the damage on Pika. Oh, but finally, Pika finally strikes out across the map, and he will get the refinery. He will deny that economy from Dimon. Both sides have nearly nothing left, but I think that's finally it. Pika may have broken Dimon enough to even up the score. Dimon gets a Game 1 win with the MCV cell with the all-in. But Game 2, I think finally, after all of that, Pika has done enough defending that he'll be able to hold on to this game and even up the score 1-1. Dimon is not giving up. He has sold literally everything off that he can, including the power plants, so he will be in ultra-low power mode. He will have very, very slow production, which isn't the biggest of deal when you don't have much economy, when you don't have much money. You're throwing a Hail Mary. You're going for one last play. Tengu's going down, 2, 3, 4 of them get eliminated, and Dimon will take the L. Pika puts a point on the board, and neither semifinal will be a shutout. Pika holds off a grueling 7 minutes of attacking. I think in a 12-minute game, Dimon was throwing everything that he had for 7 of those minutes, just constantly across the map, throwing everything that he possibly could. And in the end, Pika still never out-ecoed Dimon. After all of that, Pika had so many more refineries than Dimon, but so many fewer working harvesters on average. And that will do it for game number 2. Pika sends us into game number 3 with an equal map score. And that brings us back to Mers Landing for game number 3. The score is equal 1-1. It's a best of 7, so both players have a couple more games to give. Dimon opens up once again with the dojos, heading across the map, looking to separate them out for dojo opener for Dimon. And it looks like he will be able to get both of the oil derricks, although only briefly. This one on the left will be taken back basically immediately by Pika. Dimon goes for the Mecha Bay after that, and Pika, I assume, is going to be going for the airfield once again. We'll see. He may vary it up, and he may go War Factory as well, but I assume it's going to be the airfield. Yep, Dimon will get both oil derricks. The infantry, oh no, he actually goes Naval Yard, and Naval Yard before second refinery as well, so it's going to be the Riptide to provide safe passage for that engineer. 2 Riptides and no Sal. He's actually going third Riptide, it looks like. I mean, he could be going Dolphins or something, but oh my gosh, if this dog sneaks in here while this engineer just stands around, there we go. All right, Riptide is going to get the capture of this oil derrick. Oh, he's going to try with the burst drones. That is a cute move here. The engineer is exposed. The engineer does not go down. Burst drones will be able to do some damage to these Riptides, but ultimately it will be the end of this aggression. He's going to go for the Bonsai charge, and the Tengus are here. They will be able to get the snipe on this engineer. There's a kill, and Dimon gets the victory. It doesn't matter if it's efficient or not. It doesn't matter if you actually win the game. You have got the mental win by killing that engineer. He holds on to both oil derricks past the 2.5-minute mark, and Dimon is ready to bring the fight to the other side of the map. Hey, what is that engineer doing? Dimon doesn't believe in anything but MCV cells. And was that advanced aeronautics? It was purchased that late. Pika is thrown for a bit of a loop here. He is not ready for this match, it seems. Airfield is up. Naval Yard has been sold off. And this barracks at the front should be dealt with relatively easily. It is going to take a couple of extra bombing runs. This is kind of an annoying unit composition for the allied player. He can take out the barracks, or he can take out the Imperial Warriors, but because he's only got 1 Vindicator, it takes so long to do either one. Tengu's going to be showing up. They're going to get the kill on that Vindicator. A perfect strike there, and the Vindicator didn't even drop his bombs, and Pika taps out. The momentum shifts back to Dimon. A game 3 that is so swift. A couple of these games extremely short in their runtime, but hopefully game 4 looks a little bit closer to game 2. Dimon is looking good, but Pika has got another chance to strike back. And we're back to see the infinite canyon of Fire Island once again. We got to see some of the new maps, and now we're going back to an old classic, one that we have seen for years and that the players will be very familiar with. No more of these new maps, at least not for game number 4. Dimon has the momentum. Dimon has the opportunity to take us to match point. If he's able to get the win here on Fire Island, he'll be then up 3-1 and poised to go into the finals. But Pika is no slouch. He won that long, drawn-out game on Icebreaker, able to finally knock down Dimon after that 12-minute just scrappy match back and forth. Oil Derrick goes down. Second Oil Derrick secured there by Dimon. Mecha Bay is up. Power plant is out. And there's the Defender Core. No, that's the walls building. All right, we'll see if he goes for a Defender Core and an MCV cell. That has been the MO of Dimon. 4 games in a row. It worked in 2. It didn't work in 1. And we'll see which way the pattern goes. Again, this is one of those maps that if the allied player can get into a 4 base position, it can be very powerful. But honestly, again, oh, I think the dog just got the kill on the engineer. Perfect here by Pika. He sees the debris. He sees the lack of MCV. He gets the kill on the engineer, and he knows the play. He realizes what he is up against. And yes, if Pika could get into that 4 refinery position, he would be very strong and very solid. But of course, with Dimon, I do not expect Dimon to let Pika get into that position. Double Apollo on Overwatch. There's lots of space on this map, lots of room to maneuver. Vindicators are also here. Multi-gunner turret is on the front lines. Peacekeeper's trying to jump inside of that multi-gunner turret. Won't be able to, and it just won't matter. Dojo goes down. No additional close production for Dimon. He will have to just rely on that one there. Apollos do get jumped on, and that was 2 Apollos, I think, for 1 Tengu. And if so, that is a great trade for Dimon. He is going to be loving those numbers in his favor. Apollo looking for another angle. Apollo getting chewed up by these Tengus. 2 jabs inside of the walls. I love this from Pika. Great defensive move there. Multi-gunner turret was sold off. Pika's looking a little bit awkward and a little bit out of position. He's going to try and fight once again. I'm not sure what these Apollos are really doing. Okay. That was 2 Apollos that just got chewed up and destroyed. A 3rd Apollo that just took a little bit of hull damage. And okay, that is it. An unceremonious defeat. 2 games in a row. And Dimon goes into game number 5 on match point. And it looks like maybe the second semifinal won't be quite as exciting as that first one. Dimon with these MCV cells is looking a little bit too strong for Pika. And that sends us once more to industrial strength. The dojos of Dimon spreading out, looking for that double Oil Derrick capture once again. It is going to be a fast airfield. The attempt at the engineer snipes here for Pika. Dimon will spot it immediately. So he is aware. He should be able to time this out well enough that he doesn't lose any engineers. And Pika is going to go for the scout, go for a bit of harassment, and see what kind of damage he can do. Can get the drop on the Defender Core, potentially. Is he going tier 2? Okay. Not off of 1 refinery, at least. I guess technically he still could. Triple Defender Core. Dimon is reading this like it's an all-in, like it's a cryo rush, but it's not. He's going to get 1 of the Defender Cores. Double Vindicator. And tier 2 could be on the way here. Could also just be another power plant so he can move his MCV and get a 3rd refinery. Dimon into low power mode for just a moment, and then the Mecha Bay is going to come on out, and it is not tier 2. Pika goes for the power plant, and I thought he was going to move his MCV and go for a 3rd base. Pika telegraphing some potential danger here for Dimon. And he's going to drop. No, he goes actually for the refinery. He doesn't go for the power plant. He goes for the harvester, but he times it so that the harvester, you attack the harvester and you splash damage the refinery. Good move there by Pika. Dimon keeping an eye on the base of Pika. I think he might actually be able to see the double airfield on the inside. Still no Tier 2 from Pika, no cryocopters. It is just a pure Air Force build on industrial strength, and you gotta hand it to someone who is down 1-3 in a best of 7 and then goes full double airfield. That Vindicator does go down. Goes full double airfield in game number 5. Like, this is just it. This is how Pika goes down. And he is like, I'm going to go down in the double airfield standard. Okay, this might be Tier 2. This might be heightened clearance there for the allied player to finally get out some cryocopters. If it's not, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what Pika's doing. He might be going full goofball mode. He goes for a barracks on the outside. All right. I don't know what Pika's doing. He wants to take an oil derrick, I guess. Yeah, he wants to take an oil derrick. Peacekeeper on the hunt. And, I mean, Dimon went Tier 2. He didn't sell his MCV. Whoa! It's 3.5 minutes, and Dimon still has his MCV. A bit of a surprise there, but that's how they go. And, yeah, there's the pack up. No Tier 2, no cryo. Okay, position's only very, very slightly. So, I don't think that's close enough to get you that expansion. I really thought he was going to be going for the expansion. Chopper VXs will transform. 2 Apollos may be dead here. Vindicator is going to be taking advantage of that, and he will force the sell-off of that Defender core. MCV over there at the third base. Dimon, he doesn't have a lot of cash. He has a decent amount that he's harvested over the course of this game, but Pika is actually going to be going for that MCV reposition, I think. And okay, yeah, he's going to be going out there towards the water. He's going to be looking for a more normal kind of a game after this double airfield opener. What a goofy match here for game number 5. A weirdo build from Pika and not an MCV cell from Dimon. I mean, I love it. I love different builds, but a double airfield on industrial strength, that's not one that is super common. Maybe double airfield after you get your third. Okay, sure, we've seen that. But, well, that's going to be it. And now we're just going to, I guess, transition into third bases for both players. Once again, Dimon is quite cash-strapped. He played this very defensive, very worried early game. And now he's sort of stabilized a little bit. He's going to need a mass transform here. Okay. That actually works out nicely for Dimon. Snipes a Vindicator. Loses nothing for it. Ah, there we go. Now you have enough cash for a refinery. All you have to do is sell off your FCV. Pika takes the oil derrick. The other oil derrick gets eliminated. Vindicators come in, another bombing run. Rocket pods just got upgraded, it looks like. So Dimon will be able to take advantage of that. But honestly, Pika's got a pretty good setup here. Dimon might be able to take down this oil derrick here on the left side, so that'll be good. Oh, nope, there's the transform. So Dimon gets another Apollo, but he doesn't get this oil derrick, at least not just yet. And, well, at the very least, Pika has seen this coming for him. He still doesn't have Tier 2, but he does have a couple of IFVs, and he has the ability to print out walls to delay the game, to draw this one out a little bit longer. Striker VX. Ooh. Oh, it does go down! Those IFV shots right on the edge of range do get the kill. Harvester offline. Needs to get back to work. Dimon forgot about this Harvester. Okay. He sends it back to work. Apollo comes in for this scout. He sees the Harvester getting back to work, but it also telegraphs there might be Vindicators over here. Apollo will trade out against these Tengus. IFVs find a bit of damage. They'll get one striker. Second striker will go down in the trade. 2 strikers for 2 IFVs. The allied player will take that every day of the week. Tsunami tanks are now out. The longer this game goes on, the more dangerous it becomes potentially for Dimon. Having that oil derrick, or taking that oil derrick back, is definitely a nice move. Pika looking to end that oil derrick if he at all can. 3 refineries. Tier 2 allies looking good for Pika. Vindicators come in, split their bombs across a couple of targets, and the Guardians will do the damage to the rest of the ground army. Strikers get the kills that matter, though, as this IFV finally gets a kill secured on that striker, and the Apollo is going to have to back on off. Tsunami tanks looking to cross the map and do some damage, but no, Dimon pulls back. He decides he doesn't have enough to get across the map, but the longer this game goes on, the worse the situation will be for Dimon. This is like sort of the least number of cryocopters that will ever exist in this game is, I think, right now. I'm going to guess that this is the first one popping on out. No, it's another Apollo. Is Pika doing this cryocopterless? Oh, and this Imperial Warrior will get taken out. Peacekeeper may end up going down to a striker. There's the transform. No one has grabbed this garage. At this point, Dimon basically can't. I mean, yeah, he could produce an MCV, build a barracks, get an engineer, but functionally, he's not going to do that. Pika really would like to grab that garage, but Dimon has had so much map control for the entirety of this game that it hasn't been very reasonable for him to do that. Bit of a choke point here. Could be an ideal spot for a cryo shot. Pika holding on with his tournament life to this game. Tengus come forward. They're going to be able to catch a Vindicator. Nice kill there. It will be answered back. IFVs landing a couple of shots here. Guardians getting on top of those tsunamis, and one of the tsunamis pops its armor, so it will not be able to do any more damage. Tengus finding a couple of kills. Strikers as well, but the Apollos on the north side clean up the striker in the sky. It's a bit of a wash as both players take some damage. Peacekeeper finally killed off that. Oh, the Apollos get caught in the middle of the map. The Tengus finding a kill or two, but it will be answered back every time. Dimon does some damage. Pika has an answer, and it's not always clean. It's not always pretty, but he gets the oil derrick, and he gets a couple more units there at the tail end of that engagement. This Tengu is almost certainly going to die. He doesn't draw those IFVs in, or he doesn't draw the Tengus into the IFV fire, so no hit back from Pika. Pika now has 4 refineries, though. His economy is outstripping Dimon, nearly 10k up in total resources gathered, but Dimon is going to do Dimon things. He's a believer in harassment consistently throughout games. Harvesters getting poked and prodded pretty much all of the time. Couple of tsunamis sneaking in the front door. The Tengus have drawn the defenses over. And is this a trap, though? As the tsunamis go for the crush, they go for the kill on this harvester, but this might be the end of these tsunamis. There's not really a way for them to pull out of this base safely. They're going to pop a couple of more nano deflectors and hope to escape. No cryocopters here for the shrink or the freeze. And, well, these tsunami tanks are going to get as much value as they can, but it's not much value. Harvesters go down. Dimon always good at evening the economy, even when he doesn't have any way to expand. Pika out-expands Dimon, but doesn't really out-harvest him. So restarts those harvesters. I think for a moment down to 0 harvesters actually working, actually on the line, producing anything for Pika. No defense back at home. No static defense back at home, rather. Vindicators will be able to pick up a couple of kills. No, they're going to be going for the harvester, going for the refinery. The cryo temptation was too much, and Pika will get the unbeatable kill here on the refinery. Nothing that Dimon can do to stop that. Vindicator picks up a kill on a Tengu as well. The bomb split is good, And Pika is looking to make that map score a little bit closer. Dimon sees the writing on the wall, and he will take the L. He's still at match point, but once again, he gets the win in the short game, and Pika gets the win in the long game. 12 minutes, Pika gets the win. 3 minutes, it's Dimon's game. Game number 6 will decide if we go to the ace match or if we go to the next series. And that will be decided here on Deep Sea. Once again, we get to see this map. Once again, it's an AVE. Pika coming out ahead in that last game, but he still has to complete 2 more wins just like that to take us into the finals. Dimon, on the other hand, can just MCV sell to his heart's content. Always happy to play aggressive, to do something a little bit risky, and know that he has another game to fall back on. Oiled Eric gets grabbed for Pika. No double airfield opening, I would expect. Dimon actually could take 3 bases, 3 refineries pretty sensibly on this map. He has been loving his MCV cells, and I guess that's what he feels gives him the best chance at winning these series. But it does make for an average game length that is a good bit shorter when you go for those MCV cells. Conyard is out. He needs 1 more power plant before he can really sell his MCV. I mean, he could sell it now, but you need the extra power plant for safety. If you keep the barracks around, then you need it just to stay online. I think if you sell off the barracks, you're fine. You're with 1 power plant, but no, you're not, because the MCV provides power. But there we go. All right. 6 for 6. Maybe we can go 7 for 7 as Dimon goes for the MCV cell. And his power plant should finish up there. Yep, he's 175 out of 200. And that is where he will be, unless he sells off that barracks. Dimon pressuring a little bit at the front. Airfield is out for Pika. He has a couple of Imperial Warriors to deal with at his front door. And the consistent dojo production means that Dimon can't have his vehicles dealt with. Pika has to deal with these Imperial Warriors using his bombing runs from his Vindicators instead of trying to pick off power plants, Tengus, go for refineries, go for damage on those harvesters. Instead, he's wasting his time, wasting his bombs, dealing with these Imperial Warriors that will otherwise just bonsai charge his Peacekeepers to death. Imperial Warriors, still 6 of them here on the front line, and more coming every day. Dimon is holding back these Tengus. He's not streaming them across the map. He's going to have 6. He can definitely cross map with those. He's got 6. He is ready to go. The barracks did get sold off. The Imperial Warriors are still pressing down the front, and Dimon hasn't been spotted until just now. You see the 6 Tengus, and you can sort of assume what's happened given the consistent Imperial Warrior production. There wouldn't be this many Imperial Warriors, and is this it? Is this how Pika dies? Here in game number 6 to this aggression from Dimon. Suddenly, Pika is kind of falling apart here. He may have been hoping for a 3rd refinery, but he has to keep these ones online, and he is going to have a scrappy game ahead of him. Apollo shows up. Apollo gets shut down as he goes back to get repaired and will die immediately. Harvester deploys out into a command hub, and it won't even survive long enough to build anything. So if this refinery dies, that will be it for that location. Pika will have to reposition his MCV, but he is so low on cash. He could not keep up that barracks production anymore, and that's it. GG comes out, and Pika falls down in game number 6. the shorter it is, the more likely Dimon has won. And he has won here in Game 6. He will go to the finals, and we will get a DutchArmy versus Dimon rematch. We have seen this finals before, and we're looking for a different outcome, or we're looking for the continuation of Dimon's domination in Red Alert 3 Masters. And welcome to the finals of Red Alert 3 Masters. Game 1 is kicking us off on Liberation Freeze, and we have a best of 9 on our hands between the red allied player in the north. Give it up for DutchArmy, defeating DDF, the most common opponent for the Yellow Empire player in the south. He just stomped all over Pika. This is the Empire. This is Dimon. DDF vs. Dimon has given us some of the most entertaining and fantastic sets from tournaments. Is he about to laser lock his own? What are you doing? What are you doing? What? I have never seen this before. I have never seen someone deny the capture of an oil derrick from their opponent. Okay. Dimon versus DDF has been such a fantastic matchup for so long. And then DutchArmy comes along and he knocks DDF out of the bracket. It is single elimination. It is brutal here in these last stages. Of course, DDF and Pika, they're getting their payday. $50 and an engineer, a chance at the prize. As Dimon has a suspicious engineer running around randomly around the map. Walls are one way to defeat Imperial Warriors in game number 6 of the semifinals. Imperial Warriors caused such a havoc and such difficulty for Pika that he was never able to get his feet under him. But now we have Riptides, we have walls, and we have 2 Javelin soldiers inside of those walls, safe from the Imperial Warriors, keeping these Apollos and Vindicators safe from everything. And this is so much of a better setup here for DutchArmy. He does still have to deal with the cash boost from Dimon, but that is why, I guess that's why he killed his oil derrick, because he knew, or was suspecting, predicting maybe even, that it was an MCV cell. He may have even realized that, like, okay, Dimon is going to take this oil derrick. He's going to have 2 oil derricks, and that is a piece of his income that he is he is counting on. So I will deny that after I get the cash back for the engineer and a couple of extra dollars. But I'll deny him that capture, and I'll deny him that additional income. And that actually seems like it has sort of worked. Dimon is still in a good position. I think he did tech up to tier 2. No, he hasn't teched up to tier 2. He did just have the tank busters. But Dimon has a healthy number of Tengus, and unlike in some of those other games, he has not thrown a bunch of them away, trying desperately to harass, try again, and losing Tengu after Tengu. The Naval Yard was a nice touch. Got out a couple of Riptides, good control of the Apollos. Extra Apollos can be added on. These walls can be extended as well. Riptides are here. Not a lot of losses on either side. Heavy damage done to the Tengus and the Apollos, but ultimately no kills. As soon as Dimon loses those Tengus, the honorable discharge will allow them to do lots of damage. 4 Apollos versus these Tengus. Trade 1 for 1. The Apollos escape. That does favor Dimon a little bit, but DutchArmy is going to be happy with only losing 1 Apollo against that giant cloud of Tengus. Tier 2 is here. Repairs are being stacked up, and Dutch Army needs a solution quickly. I'm not sure that he's going to be able to get one. He is so low on cash that he actually can't build any more than one wall segment at a time. He's just going to reposition his MCV and hope that he can defend. He has put so much of his money into this Air Force, into this double airfield play, and it is going to be a healthy wall segment now coming up here for Dutch Army. A couple hundred credits down the drain to those wall segments, but they are going to keep him safe from the Imperial Warriors. Only the tank busters will be able to break them down. Strikers being added into the mix gives an extra element to Dimon. And as we cross the 5.5 minute mark, this is where Pika would normally fold and have to tap out in the shorter games. If that trend continues, that bodes well for Dutch Army, but Dimon is looking for the angle. The Apollos are away, but they're crashing back to home, or they're rushing back to home. Wall segments will be broken down, a couple of them getting taken out there. Vindicators into the sky, but the Apollos get targeted very quickly by those choppers. Down on the ground, the Strikers have done their damage, and the cryo shot will fire off. The Tengu's looking for the angle. Only one multi-gunner turret there, but a second one gets added on right at the weak spot, and for now the airfield is still safe. The repairs will still be there, and the Tengus go for the transform. They're going for the Apollos. The shred comes through as the Apollos reposition themselves against these Tengus, and the tank busters break down those walls, break down that airfield, and the Strikers go down. Dimon's army has been broken. Dutch Army survives the onslaught. The night has broken and the dawn is here. It's not over yet. Dutch Army still has a Tier 2 all-in Empire player to deal with. Dimon does not go down easy, and he still has some strength left in him. A double refinery plus an oil derrick economy. And Dutch Army can't really counterattack to do any real damage. If he catches these Strikers, that would be fantastic. But Dimon will be on top of them, and he'll transform them immediately. There's the transform. Apollos take a lot of damage. The Vindicator as well, going to be having to heal up. Riptides don't close the distance. They should have, if at all possible, they should have closed the distance and jumped on those Strikers. Javelins are definitely a nice addition, as is that third refinery. Dimon is only 4,000 credits up over his opponent. That oil derrick doesn't mean very much when your opponent now has a third refinery. Riptides are here. Javs do get popped out. They jump back inside of that Riptide. Unfortunately, the other Riptide was tanking all of the damage. Strikers can't really go for the easy transform. Cryo shot comes in. One Striker almost gets caught by it. The other Strikers will go down as they transform into the sky, and the Apollos move in to pick them off. Strikers will strike back and get a couple of kills, but no, pretty much everything in the air survives. The Riptide gets caught by its own cryo blast from the sky, and now Dimon has found the opening. He's found the weakness, and he's going to be driving Dutch Army onto the high ground. Dutch Army's Harvester will buy a couple of more seconds. Losing one Harvester isn't the end of the world for Dutch Army. He is going to have to fold that airfield down, pack it away, and hope for a better hold position up here on the high ground. Cryocopters are a potential threat, and this Vindicator can actually drop some bombs now that he's not being harassed. He will go for the kill on that Tengu over at the main base. Multi-gunner turret gets deployed. Cryocopter is out. Dimon may have delayed a little bit too much. Cryocopter gets the shrink on the unit that matters most. The Tengu is here, but the Apollos will shred it. The Tsunamis get the Harvester, and this refinery may have to be given up. But honestly, Dimon, even if he forces the sell-off on one of these refineries, that's still not the end of the road. When your opponent has a Cryocopter, they have the ability to survive so much more. Another Tsunami tank does go down. Trading out the Cryo wouldn't be good for that, but the Cryo survives. The multi-gunner turret gets a couple of more shots off. Dutch Army may have done it. He sells off that refinery, and if he can get his economy back online, that cryocopter is going to be so difficult to deal with. The Apollo control has been pretty much perfect by DutchArmy. He has lost so few Apollos over the course of this game. So many Tengus, so many strikers, so many fired shots, but no kills. Some upgrade just got added on there. That might have been like not high technology, or maybe high technology. What is the Guardian tanks, dogs, and I think cryocopters? Apollo's moving out. Tengu's going to be able to, and that lead Apollo actually saving the life potentially of these other Apollos. The lead Apollo goes down. This is still a scary number of strikers, but no, Dimon doesn't actually want to step out. He's got 5 strikers and 4 Tengus. This is definitely enough of a force to do some hefty damage to DutchArmy. And DutchArmy back down to the 2 refineries. He has not been able to take back a 3rd refinery, so he's just sort of sitting in this position. He has not managed to even up the economy score. 35,000 credits total for Dimon, and DutchArmy did not have that 3rd refinery up fast enough to really offset how quickly he lost his main base ref. Building will be broken eventually. Dimon is going to be looking to jump on these forces in the main base. Will lose a striker. That's good for DutchArmy. He gets another shot at taking this game back. So much of this is going to depend on the cryocopters. It feels like a bit of a coin flip. If the cryocopters can make this engage magic, then it will be a win for DutchArmy. Dimon holding on to that tier 2 and never taking any harassment has been key. We'll rank up a little bit on that power plant. A good catch there by Dimon. DutchArmy almost catching some units of Dimon, but he does transform them in time. Shrink Ray comes through. Apollos are here. The numbers aren't good enough to deal with these Tengus. Jabs are going to help get a couple of kills, but that's not going to be enough. And Dimon may have found the perfect angle. The cryocopters get sniped. The Tengus are happy to trade their lives for the win. Oh, those strikers went into the sky. The tsunamis never got the crush, so those jabs did so much more damage than they ever should have been able to. Those jabs should have been eliminated immediately, but they got a couple of kills, and it just doesn't matter as DutchArmy will take the L in Game 1. Dimon gets his first post-10-minute win in Masters. He believes in those short, fast, and furious games. He believes in the MCV cell, and it worked here. But DutchArmy almost clawed it back. We'll just see if he can do it again in game number 2. Maybe a little bit better. And game 2 will take us once again to the infinite canyon that is Fire Island. Liberation Freeze gets the win for Dimon. But perhaps now, on a standard map, on one of the old maps, DutchArmy can find a bit more of a chance. Dimon has been loving this MCV cell, and we've seen it now 7 games in a row. Hopefully, we don't see it 8 games in a row. Honestly, I would have loved to see Dimon play Soviets against DutchArmy's allies, but he has decided to play Empire. He has opted to stick with this faction in this tournament. We always love to see Dimon's Soviet play, but no one can deny that he is not really good with Empire as well. And it looks like Dimon will get both oil derricks. DutchArmy was kind of posturing over towards the left side with these jabs to potentially snipe this oil derrick before Dimon could get it. No such luck. Dimon gets both of the oil derrick captures, and he is beginning that credits, that resource advantage. Did he just... Okay. Whew. All right, we'll keep the Conyard selected so that we if it disappears, we know what happened. Riptide with a couple of jabs inside of it, running away from the front line. Maybe gonna... Oh! It looks like that was the sell-off. Yeah, he's going for the dojo hunt. All right. Dutch Army takes back one of the oil derricks, chases down these dojos, and the dog scout gets denied. Dutch Army can assume. He may have actually been watching the games of Dimon versus Pika, which I guess if you change the color or change the names, this would look exactly the same as that series. But in this case, the dog scout does get denied. Dutch Army may have a suspicion that Dimon is going for the MCV cell. When he sees this engineer, he will, have another thing potentially to confirm it. But of course, with the dog scout denied, you don't know 100% for certain. It's just a very strong possibility. The hitbox on that oil derrick is pretty good, with how far away the engineer can be to start the capture process. MCV has moved. This is a potentially dangerous situation for Dutch Army. Lots of Imperial Warriors. This is what Dimon loves to do. 5, 6, 7 Tengus, lots of Imperial Warriors. You can't use just one unit to deal with this army from Dimon, but you can try and wall up. Now, unfortunately, Fire Island has a number of spots where walls are not permitted. So there's a number of areas where you just can't wall off completely. It's one of the problems with Fire Island. It has a bunch of awkward spots where walls just are not as effective as they would be on other maps. Power plant getting targeted down. Dutch Army isn't looking too good here in game number 2. He is still powered up. He has not lost power just yet. Really needs 4 Vindicators to be able to deal with all of this stuff on the ground. Jabs are here. Laser lock mode is activated. Number of Tengus get cleaned up. 3 Apollos on Overwatch, but Dimon is keeping the Harvester of Dutch Army offline. Dutch Army only has 1 Harvester working, and the other oil derrick ended up going down. Apollo's trading out with these Tengus. Looks like the Vindicator also went down. 1 Vindicator for a couple of Tengus. Dimon is probably fine with that. He knows that this is not a pure numbers game. He doesn't need to trade 1 for 1 with his opponent. He can give away a couple of units, and especially with honorable discharge, if he can get extra value from them exploding, that's always better. Jabs get targeted, Tengus get the kills, and Dimon is not giving up on this strategy. Dutch Army may be up against an opponent that he just simply cannot beat. Couple of Tengus getting picked off here. Going for the water expansion. It has its advantages, but no walls. A little bit further away. No easy access to those repairs. We'll see if Dutch Army is able to pull one out. Apollo's nearby, but not close enough to get the shots immediately. They're going to try and trade back against these Tengus. A couple of extra Tengus going down. No, just 1. Not enough multi-gunner turrets, not enough jabs to really keep those Tengu numbers down. MCV is going to be forced to pack up. Dutch Army slightly overtaxed on his power array, but he is going to be able to back up. Tengus will go for the transform, and this Harvester has not even paid for itself yet. It's about to, and the Apollos will take a couple of shots at those Tengus, but Command Hub is going to be established here for Dutch Army, and this is feeling like a tale as old as time. Dimon has been so good with these MCV cells. Usually, it's sub 5 minutes, but it's not always, and, well, he's actually gotten a win now on a post-10-minute all-in. Imperial Warriors close the distance. The Apollos on the deck go down. The Tengus go for the transform, and the Harvester will be dealt with. Another Harvester dead, another allied player crumbling before Dimon. You can get cryocopters versus him, but it is not necessarily enough to save you. And Dutch Army is going to be thinking about the next map that he is going to get to play on, the next map where he's going to have to try and deal with this all in. And I guess technically, it's not all over yet. Dutch Army going to be getting some free repairs on that MCV. Going to be able to buy himself maybe a little bit more time. I guess not. He's going to have to sell some buildings off. Sell off a multi-gunner turret maybe. Sell off a power plant maybe. No oil derricks, no refineries, no harvesters working. Dutch Army is in dire straits, and I think he is just thinking about that next game. What do you do? How do you solve it? There is a problem in front of you, and there's just not much that seems to be working. Dutch Army finally got one harvester back online, and he is getting these free repairs on this MCV, hoping that will help him survive a little bit longer. One Tengu goes down, but what does that matter when you've got 5 more lined up behind it and 2 strikers? Dimon has figured this game out. Allied players have not found a solution to this build yet, and Dimon is exploiting that fact here in this tournament. 7, 8 games in a row. He's going for the same build, and this is not something that was very common before this event. MCV cells existed, but this one is faster. It's a little bit more active and a little bit more, I don't know, risky or chaotic. It's a little bit more aggressive than what we've seen in the past, and Dimon is better at executing it than anyone in the past has been. Dutch Army might be able to figure out how to beat this. Pika might be able to figure out how to beat this, but can they figure it out in the middle of a series? Pika couldn't. Dutch Army has a couple of more chances to figure it out, and hopefully he's able to collect his thoughts in between the games and figure out how he is going to stop this. I mean, I guess he could go full YOLO mode and switch up to a different faction, play an EVE, or, I mean, he could switch to Soviets. That would be fascinating, but Dimon has to figure, or Dutch Army has to figure something out, because he looked really good versus DDF, and he is getting dumpstered by Dimon. And that brings us once again to Absolute Zero. It is Game 3, and it is going to be a spicy one here for the Red Allied player. When will Dimon realize that this is heading his way? Very soon, but not just yet. We can even switch over to his vision. He will. Oh, no, he does see it. He sees it already. Dang, those dojos and those burst drones have quite good vision. Dimon says, well, this is a short cross map. You do have the water in between, so it is a little bit awkward to navigate with some early game units, but not with an MCV. You don't have any dogs or bears to worry about for this engineer to get caught by. And in this case, we will see what Dutch Army has planned. We can all surmise that it is a turret push of some sort, but the focus and the style we have yet to determine. And I love this idea from Dutch Army. It is a best of 9, and it is Game 3, so he has a little bit of leeway here, and the advantage is if he wins here, he at least buys himself a little bit more breathing room. And it could be that Dimon, oh, this is perfect from Dutch Army. The catch of the second, where's that laser going? The catch of that second docks. This bonsai charge is going to be close, but no, he doesn't activate it. Dimon is paying attention somewhere else, so we will get the kill on those jabs, but this is perfect from Dutch Army. You could not have asked for a better response from Dimon for Dutch Army to destroy. Double naval yard, gets the shutdown on them. He is going to be losing this multi-gunner turret, but I think he maybe got a power plant or something for it, and he got some damage on the con yard. I mean, yeah, the Imperial Warriors will get the kill, but this is close to a perfect setup here for Dutch Army. Not perfect because he, had to sacrifice a lot of his early game economy to make this happen, but this is a very solid position, and that double naval yard response from Dimon looks goofy. It looks straight up stupid based on how Dutch Army dealt with it, but obviously, if Dutch Army doesn't have those jabs perfectly positioned over there, or if the bonsai charge hits 5 seconds sooner, then that double naval yard is close to impossible for DutchArmy to deal with. He wouldn't be able to put on this pressure at the front door of Dimon and deal with a double naval yard at the same time. One of the things would break down, either the front line or the back line. But the kill of that double naval yard has opened up a lot of opportunity here for DutchArmy. Looks like that jab is going to be getting blocked from killing the refinery. Tsunami Tank going to be taking a little bit of damage. Out on the water, the Riptides will fare a lot better versus this Tsunami Tank. Additional... No sell of the Conyard for you. It is going to be the first time that Dimon does not sell his Conyard here in Masters. And that will do it for the Conyard. It does disappear in every single game, but this is the first time where it is not just sold off. It's not an MCV sell build. It is a Tier 2 Mecha Bay. This is a 2 refinery plus an oil derrick economy. So Dimon is not out of it yet. DutchArmy does not get the insta-win here just because he killed the MCV and just because he is sieging the main base. There is still hope and there is still opportunity for Dimon to take this back. If DutchArmy had Tier 2 and had an Assault Destroyer, things would be different. But these Harvesters have been off the line so much. Only 6,000 credits in total harvested by DutchArmy. He has such a slim bank account, and now the front line is collapsing. Sneaking those Tsunami Tanks around the side may have just done it, and DutchArmy may be broken. He's had to sell off one of the refineries. He's going to stay alive with the other one, but he missed one of the things that he needed to do, and that was either kill the Mecha Bay or a refinery. If he gets the Mecha Bay, it's game over. If he gets a refinery, then he could have survived a little bit more of this attack. But 5 Tsunami Tanks closing in on this base, and there is not much that DutchArmy can do. He will fight it out. Riptides, maybe even a Vindicator, will get in on the action. But this is a lot of Tsunamis, and they're pulling back. They could have sacrificed themselves and gotten more kills, but Dimon does not want to give an inch to DutchArmy. He is going to use the Honorable Discharge. He gets the guaranteed kill on that Harvester, and now the Tengus are out. Again, nothing left to chance here by Dimon. DutchArmy loses the Vindicator, and the refinery gets camped. I love it from DutchArmy, but even so, it is not enough. And Dimon gets the 3-0 start. A brutal 3 games. But at least that last one, DutchArmy had some agency. He took things into his own hands, and he tried to make the game his own. But ultimately, Dimon cannot be killed. He cannot be stopped. He's a freight train, and he will run you over. If you want to start a comeback, is there a better place to do it than Infinity Isle? Look at those walls. Look at that spacing. This red guy has an idea. And that idea involves an airfield. The walls are complete. There are no javelins inside of it. And Dimon doesn't know that this is coming, but he can suspect. Very common build for... well, not very common, but a common enough build for allies. However, it is the Apollo. So this is not the Vindicator first. This is no early bomb droppings. Nothing like that. Refinery is now out. Something else is queued up. First oil derrick gets captured. Second oil derrick should be secured by Dimon. And DutchArmy for now is just going for the Scout Cryocopter. Yes, indeed. The Vindicator is just hanging out over here next to the ore refinery, not dropping bombs, and that is the indicator for Dimon. He knows what's coming, and he gets the MCV cell. 1 minute, 22 seconds on that MCV cell. One of the fastest of all time for Dimon, but he's got both of the oil derricks, and those are potential weak points. But of course, DutchArmy doesn't want to just take down the economy. He wants to get the kill. And this is going to silence those... defenses from Dimon. Permanent low power mode coming up for Dimon. Oh, he sells off the refinery. Okay. And he sells off the Defender Core as well. Dimon is already either throwing in the towel or he is really going to be leaning on this dojo on the other side of the map. Tier 2 could be finishing up here. He might be holding a couple of units back. No, he is going to keep the Tengus nearby. Now the power plant is going to be going down. This is the last target that will be knocked down. Now this Vindicator needs to head home. Or no, maybe he's got... I guess he just took out 2 power plants because he didn't have to take out the refinery. That got sold off. 1 Tengu goes down. The Apollo's on Overwatch. 2 Apollos. And the Cryocopters may actually have to go back home and go for the kill on that building. The Vindicators do need some place to land. Ooh, a little bit of a mistake there from DutchArmy. Drops the bombs randomly on that Tengu. And maybe if these Tengus can get caught by this MCV, he's actually going to be going for the Harvester. And he will miss it just barely, but he will not get the Tengus either. Looked like he was going to be able to land the shot, land the crush on those Tengus. Walls have been broken down. DutchArmy needs an airfield to go home to. If he doesn't have an airfield, then it's hard to kill the rest of these buildings. But he's got the Mecha Bay. So victory is in sight. Game number 4 will... Well, okay, let's wait. It looks like it will go to DutchArmy. It looks like he will be able to close this one finally. Put 1 point on the board. I don't know. Maybe you should go for the Tengu instead. But that Vindicator may have enough bombs for both. And nope, Vindicator goes back, and Dimon will leave the game. DutchArmy gets the win on game number 4. He puts a point on the board, and he saves us from a clean sweep. We can all be grateful for that. Dimon gets 0 kills in that game. In some sense, a perfect game from DutchArmy. 0 structures lost, 0 units lost, 5 kills. And that will be an extremely small amount of money harvested, but a win nonetheless for DutchArmy. That might be the highest efficiency ratio I have ever seen. 1 win does not a victor make. And we go from Infinity Isle to Battle Base Beta. One of those maps that many people will say is, you know, maybe a little bit favored one way or the other, but it's mostly an even match between Empire and Allies. We'll see what DutchArmy is able to do, and we'll keep an eye on that Conyard of Dimon. It's another airfield first, technically, for DutchArmy. This has a 100% win rate in this series. It is going to be Vindicator first, and it is going to be immediate bombing runs from, and it's actually going to be the double Vindicator build from DutchArmy. So he's looking to shut down these barracks. He is looking to put a little bit of pressure on Dimon. He gets his second refinery up and running, and there we go. Drops his bombs. We'll be able to keep 1 Vindicator overhead in case an engineer pops out. Triple Vindicator, okay. Dimon is spending that cash. DutchArmy is spending it a little bit faster with those Vindicators. And 3rd Vindicator is here, which means the barracks goes down. The engineer is not able to sneak on out, and the walls finish up just in time. 3rd refinery. Dimon is doing something slightly different. He may still get this oil derrick, but it will take him a little bit longer if he chooses to go for it. And actually, Vindicator's going to be doing a little swoop around to make sure that there is nothing sneaky on the high ground. Burst drone will pull off to the north side, and we're past the 2-minute mark. Mecha Bay is out. Okay, that's the last thing necessarily. He will want 1 more power plant, though. He doesn't need it per se, but he probably will want 1 more power plant. Oh, okay, yeah, 175. And now, with that, he'll need 1 more power plant. But no, he's going more dojos. Okay, so this MCV is going to be around for at least a little while. More dojos are coming out for Dimon. Of course, he could go 1 more power plant and then sell the MCV. Triple Vindicator and DutchArmy goes to the high ground. Are we going to have a normal game? The MCV packs up! He doesn't sell it. He packs it up. He's moving to the high ground. I can hear the choir singing. The chorus is here, and it's a normal game from Dimon. We're calling it normal right here, right now. Even if he sells off his MCV in a minute, we're going to declare this to be normal because we need one normal game after playing 10 in a row that were MCV sells or MCV kills. We need just one. We need just one that's a normal game. Apollo gets the scout. He does actually see the MCV on the low ground as well, I believe. He sees the 4th refinery, and now he is going to confirm, yep, that's a 4th refinery. So DutchArmy has the full read, the full scout on exactly what is going on, and he knows that he needs to be efficient. That usually does mean getting those cryocopters. Could have potentially split those bombs off from those last 2 Vindicators and sent them somewhere else, but he didn't. And the sell-off of that barracks will kind of waste a bombing run there. So nicely done by Dimon. Multi-gunner turrets are being deployed. Imperial Warriors are trying to cause as many problems as they can. A cheap but efficient distraction by Dimon. Utilizing this bad position of the multi-gunner turret, Dimon will be drawing the fire away from the front line and towards any other place on the map. As long as Dimon can keep as many openings for potential harassment as possible, he is generally a happy fellow. Strikers move forward, straight to Tier 2. Dimon isn't often a Tier 2 first kind of guy, and okay, DutchArmy does not wait for the perfect timing on that harvester. He instead sends the bombs immediately, and he's going to rely on that IFV to get the actual kill, but the IFV will end up going down, I think, to that harvester. No, the second IFV is here. Meanwhile, out on the water, there we go, IFV. Harvester goes down. Out on the water, the Riptide doing a bit of harassment, but the Riptide will be dealt with. The Strikers get the kill there. And the Harvester perhaps was taken out. Okay, DutchArmy got a kill on a Harvester, and that is not something that we see very often. 5 minutes on the clock. 5 minutes of MCVs existing for both players. A record here for Dimon in the Masters. And, well, Tengu's going to be pulling away. Strikers are here. Tank busters as well. I think one dojo has survived. The engineer comes up from the low ground. And DutchArmy never captured his own oil derrick. Between the build that he chose, the chaos of this match, and the fact that Dimon has both of these structures with Imperial Warriors inside, means that it hasn't really been a feasible option for DutchArmy. I love the potential water expansion here from DutchArmy. Dimon lost a Harvester, but he's already back online. Dimon's economy is looking good. It's going to be looking even better when that engineer gets inside of that oil derrick. Vindicator could have potentially pulled over there and got the kill if DutchArmy realized it, but I think he's got other things to be worried about. Strikers will take a couple of shots here. IFV gets jumped on. IFV gets sniped. Barracks goes down, and Dimon will back on off. He's got those 4 refineries. He doesn't need to get the kill right this second. He's got the Mecha Bay as well as the dojo, and that is pretty much the only thing that he needs. From the high ground, DutchArmy gets the kill on the building, forces the exit. Dimon gets the kill. 2 Vindicators for free! DutchArmy with an unforced mistake there. He was worried about his Vindicators, but he doesn't need to worry about them anymore because they are indeed very dead. MCV may have to run down to the low ground as that war factory gets set upon by the Tengus. Peacekeepers looking for a couple of kills here. Airfield is down low on health. Meanwhile, out on the water, the Strikers will get the kill, deny the build radius, and trade out 1 Striker for it. 3 attacks at once, different areas of the map for Dimon. DutchArmy loses his war factory, loses his expansion build radius, and loses his airfield. One of these tank busters goes heroic as DutchArmy gets 1 win with 1 cryo rush, and then looks like he's going to be falling right back down Dimon doesn't like other people to win tournaments, and he is here to claim another prize and another championship for himself. Power plant goes down. Peacekeepers get a couple of shots off. Double oil derrick, quad refinery for Dimon. He's never had this much cash ever in this tournament. This is the most robust economy he has ever had in this event. Tengus get the kill. It's low power mode for DutchArmy. He is fighting these ones out to the bitter end. And this Tengu won't go golden, but it gets awfully close with this double vet status. Bye-bye to the Tengu, but goodbye to this refinery as well. And DutchArmy is truly going to try and fight this one out. He is up to tier 2. He's got Guardian tanks and no cryocopters, but he does have the potential for them. Nothing queued up on the primary build queue, as 3 refineries are going to be either offline or destroyed. Tengu's coming in. They're going to camp on top. Oh, no. Okay. That was a curious choice. That was a bit of a mistake there from Dimon, but it doesn't really matter. This is so many tsunami tanks. Not often does a player have cash in the bank and you're like, well, yeah, he's floating, but it's not because he's bad at producing units. He's not bad at macro. He just doesn't have enough production to match how much money he has, because Dimon is not used to playing with 4 refineries in this tournament. DutchArmy did manage to keep that refinery offline, so he's online. So he's got 2 refineries. 2 refineries versus 4 refineries, 2 oil derricks. Dimon has as many oil derricks as his opponent has refineries. And then 4 refineries after that. So not a good look for DutchArmy. Almost 20k down in total resources gathered. And, well, if there was a Cryo-Geddon available, not even a Cryo Shot or a Cryo Blast, but a Cryo-Geddon, and it landed on all of these tanks, DutchArmy would have a chance. I'm not saying he would win, I'm saying he would have a chance at winning. Dimon, again, playing very cautious. He could suicide all of these tanks and still be fine in this game, and he's choosing not to. He quite literally could suicide all of his tanks. He rebuilt his MCV. Wow, Dimon really believes in stretching this game out. I cannot believe he rebuilt his MCV. Genuinely, I can't believe that he would even stoop to such a level as having an MCV, but this is like complete domination by Dimon. DutchArmy has a decent number of Guardian tanks. In a different game, it's like, oh, DutchArmy actually has a pretty good army. But Dimon has so much more, and once again, Dimon is going to be looking to put on pressure on multiple fronts at the same time. Strikers, Tengus, infantry, and tsunamis. 5th refinery coming online behind it all. 60,000 credits total resources gathered, and he's just looking to get even more cash in the bank. Strikers show up, they jump on the multi-gunner turret, and it looks like the tank busters will mostly be the heroes as far as killing that refinery goes. No cryocopters, no airfield, no real hope for the future, and okay, at this point, it feels like Dimon is playing with his food. I'm not sure why the pullback at this point. Again, he could just A-move and suicide his entire army, and he would still be fine. This Riptide gets a massive scout, sees the MCV. I don't know if he knows for sure that the MCV was ever sold, but he sees the MCV, so he knows that the MCV is there. He sees the nanotech mainframe. He knows that Tier 3 is on the way. He sees the naval yard as well, so he knows that Shogun battleships will be potentially on the battlefield. And Dimon doesn't need any of that. Climbing up. Dimon is actually in low power mode right now. He's actually overstretched himself a little bit. Okay, there we go. The next power plant finished up, so Dimon's in a good spot now. Oh my gosh, okay, well. You don't have to do that. Dimon decides he's going to win this, but he is going to win it in style. He's going to slow things down and he is looking to take a 4-1 map score. And DutchArmy, not a whole lot more that he can do. Nanoswarm core as well. Okay, so this is 5 refineries. This is at least giving DutchArmy, lots of time to potentially think about what to do in another game. Can you imagine if Dimon showboated so much that he ended up losing this game? That would be pretty funny. 80,000 credits now closing in on 80,000 credits harvested. Dimon is going to take down 2 more refineries. A couple of multi-gunner turrets here on the front line, Guardian tanks, Peacekeepers. It's a decent army from DutchArmy, but of course he doesn't have anything really that he can do about this Tengu VX force, which is trashing his main base. He is going to turn around, so he'll leave his front door completely wide open and exposed. He won't even save these refineries. And okay, yeah, no, he's like, well, I can't save them anyway, so I might as well go back. And the GG gets called. That one... Dimon is just shutting it down. And that will do it. Dimon is looking for another gold medal. Always glad to see it. Industrial strength provides us with many good games. Walls coming up. Power plant is here. Airfield online. Technically, DutchArmy has a 100% win rate with cryo rushes in this series, but I don't think that's going to phase Dimon very much. Ooh, a little bit of a delay on this harvester, on this refinery deployment. Dimon, ooh, that was like 8 extra seconds. Look at that. He is fallible after all. He may not be killable, but he is not perfect. DDF has gone against Dimon many, many times. Pika has gone against Dimon many, many times. Happy, Lichter, every good player from the last 5 years has gone against Dimon many, many times, and Dimon beats them all. DutchArmy is next. In the last year and a half, he has ascended to the height of Red Alert 3 competition, but still can't beat the king. Defender, 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 and a dojo. Well, Dimon isn't ready to sell off his MCV just yet. Where is his mecha bay? Wait a second, what? No, for real, where is Dimon's mecha bay? Is this a joke build? This is a joke build. This isn't a real build. We'll see. Is he going... Okay, he cancels it. Dimon is going, I guess, mass infantry? He wants to get his harvester back online. Okay, sells off the barracks. He gets another defender core. He cancels his harvester, and he gets another defender core. Vindicators take a lot of damage, but they don't go down. 2 oil derricks still under the control of Dimon. Cryocopter will get the freeze on something and then go back for the repairs. A second cryocopter would be amazing. Dimon is out of cash. He has built too many base defenses, and he is still refusing to build a mecha bay. At this point, he doesn't have any money for a mecha bay, but because he went for that double dojo as the follow-up, which I'm not sure why exactly, but he went for that double dojo, and now he's just trying to get burst drones out so that he can try and do some kind of damage, but now that dojo goes down, and he sold off the other dojo, so we're back down to he should have just built a mecha bay a long time ago. 1 cryocopter is here, gets the freeze on that oil derrick. Dimon gets the, DutchArmy gets the kill on that oil derrick. And I guess he will need to freeze that burst drone. There's the break. And the burst drone gets denied. 5 defender cores. There's the mecha bay. And is he going to power plant and then sell off? He almost needs 2 power plants. I think he should be fine with 1 power plant. But, all right, there's the power plant. Oh, he's building something else. Maybe he wants another dojo. I'm not sure what Dimon is doing. DutchArmy has his cryocopter, he has his winning unit, and I guess if he wins here, then that will continue his 100% success rate with cryo rushes in this tournament, or at least in this series. Power's back online. Extra power plant just for good measure. I mean, he is at 275 out of 300, so he is fine in terms of power. Unless the Mecha Bay... Yeah, the Mecha Bay is online. Yeah, okay, no. So he didn't need that power plant. That is an extra power plant. So, you know, he could have gotten another Tengu, but instead he went for the power plant. Lots of Defender Cores, and maybe this is just the way to beat a Cryo Rush on Industrial Strength, and maybe I'm the one who doesn't know what I'm talking about, which is true anyways. Dimon obviously is an expert at the game, and I am not, but... this is not the typical defense of a Cryo Rush on Industrial Strike. This is not usually what people do. The, 4-minute Mecha Bay and the 7 Defender Cores before that where you lose or sell a couple of them, and then you end up with 5. And, okay, he's selling off a couple more now. And, I mean, yeah, sell off one of these power plants as well. Oil derrick will freeze eventually. Oh, no. So he used all of that time to freeze the oil derrick, and then he didn't actually get the complete freeze. He didn't actually get the kill on it. Tengu will move in. Apollos get a kill. One free Tengu. Dimon pulls the Harvester off, but only for a moment. And the refinery actually gets targeted there, possibly by accident, by DutchArmy. Harvester doing the dance back and forth. DutchArmy has repositioned his MCV and is hoping that it will mean that he can get a third refinery up and running. What a weird way to play out a potentially last game of this tournament. Dimon has found a weird build to go for, and DutchArmy has gone for 6 Apollos, and so he has a serious amount of firepower to dedicate to stopping Tengus. Tier 2 has not been added on yet for Dimon. He is going mass Tengu and pure Tengu. That is it. DutchArmy does get a third refinery. Adds on a couple of wall segments as well. And this cryocopter is now getting a little bit of value, but things are not clear yet. And I mean, from here, truly either player could win it. It is such a weird spot to be in, but it's anyone's game. You always hope for the sell-off. You hope that you can sort of force the sell-off of that striker. Defender Core. Oh, all right, so he gets the sell-off, but he also gets the kill on the Vindicator, so nicely done there by Dimon. That's as much value as you could possibly hope for. Gets the Cryocopter as well. Nicely done by Dimon. Again, as much value as you could hope for. But what an awkward exchange. What a strange turn of events. And now DutchArmy actually does have 3 refineries and as many airfields. He does not believe in ground units. He believes in the power of the air, and that is the strength of the allies, and he is sticking to it. It's mass Tengu, so it actually is going to kind of work, and he can either get a couple of more Apollos. I mean, he could go 4 more Apollos, but I assume he'll go at least 2 more Vindicators, bring him up to 4 in total. Another Defender Core goes down, 2 more Tengus as well, 2 Vindicators traded for 2 Tengus and a Defender Core. I guess that works out okay for DutchArmy. It's not ideal, but he's slowly chipping away at Dimon. And since Dimon sold his MCV, he's the one with more limited options. Third refinery gives a lot of flexibility to DutchArmy. And the fact that Dimon also hasn't gone tier 2, so DutchArmy only has to deal with Tengus, is huge. This is a great opportunity for Dimon. He's going to be able to swing in while the army is completely out of the base and away from home. MCV is going to be getting targeted down. There's the cancel of anything that was tier 2 and building. And the MCV is going to be going for the crush. It can get lots of free repairs, and the harassment is going to be continuing behind this. So the Harvester will be getting taken offline, and this MCV is just going to be running around this airfield, trying to waste as much of these Tengu's time as possible to give these Vindicators an option to bomb them out of existence. And it worked. That is a lot of dead Tengus, and there are 2 more airfields over there that the Tengus cannot lock down all of the airfields. Tengu transforms. The Apollos have already left home, and so they are in the middle of the map trying to hunt more of these targets, and he wants to desperately catch as many of these Tengus as he can. DutchArmy may be in a good enough position now. He's once again out of cash, but he's only 3,000 credits in terms of total resources gathered behind Dimon. And he got the tier 2 a lot earlier in this game. Dimon is doing such a good job of wasting time. Dimon forcing DutchArmy to drive all over the map, trying to hunt down these singular units, buys so much more time for Dimon. And it also means DutchArmy is not harassing. DutchArmy is not doing any damage to Dimon. That would have ended this game so much sooner if DutchArmy would have been able to snipe another harvester or snipe another power plant. Although, he would have actually needed to take down 3 power plants to truly send Dimon into low power mode. So I guess killing 1 power plant really doesn't make a difference. Dimon can lose 2 power plants and he'd still be at 200 out of 200. And even then, he could just sell off the defender if he was really worried about it. But he would be at 200 out of 200 and he'd be okay. Apollo's in quite a pack hunting Tengus. DutchArmy has to be, or Dimon has to be very careful. I guess DutchArmy also has to be careful, but Dimon has to be much more careful. And once again, a couple of Tengus, they go through the middle of, or they go near the middle of the map, and then they cut off way to the edge. So far that they kind of get cut off visually. Cryo shot going to be coming through. Once again, just trying to chip away at the defense. Gets lucky with the spawn of that tsunami, and that'll be the GG as DutchArmy takes the win. The all-in is the name of the game. The aggressive build is what wins the day. Dimon and DutchArmy, it's an MCV cell or it's a cryo rush. Either one, that's the win for these players. And DutchArmy puts another point on the board. He is not out of the woods. It is still 4-2 map score. And we're back on Deep Sea. Once again, I'm always a big fan of this map, and I'm excited to see how these guys play it out. We don't see any conspicuous walls, but it is still going to be an airfield first for DutchArmy. Dimon will want to identify this immediately. It's not a guarantee on a map like this that the allied player goes airfield first. Little mistakes here from Dimon. And I guess, you know, he has lost a couple of games, so he's not totally unkillable. He's lost 4 games in total in the semis and the finals. And I guess he lost 1 in the quarterfinals as well. So 5 games in total. He's not having a perfect tournament run. It is always impressive when a player will manage to execute a perfect tournament run. Wall segments kind of started by DutchArmy. Obviously, we saw Dimon tear Pika apart with infantry-based builds against an airfield opener. And it could be quite difficult, but I guess if you never let the dojos deploy, then you don't have to ever deal with the infantry going for the harassment. Triple Vindicator, no cryos coming out here for DutchArmy. Another dojo goes down. Oil derrick gets grabbed. And Dimon, okay. 1 more power plant? Yeah, he needs at least 1 more. He's got the defender core. There we go. He says, no, I don't, which means he is going to have to sell off this defender core. He's going to be overtaxed at 225 out of 200, but selling off the defender core will be fine. He's probably not planning on keeping that defender core around forever. Oil derrick goes down, so DutchArmy just wants to deny it as quickly as possible. He's not looking to get his own barracks. He's not looking to match Dimon's oil derrick shenanigans. Ore refinery comes up. He goes straight for a 3rd. And again, Dimon has been selling his MCV virtually every single game. Even the games where he rebuilt it don't quite count. But DutchArmy can suspect that it's another MCV cell. I think his Vindicator may have just gotten the confirmation of that. And yeah, it looks like he killed off the engineer. So Random engineer in the middle of the map. You can kind of guess what Dimon has done. It has been, I don't know, 20 games in a row or something. It feels like he has gone for this MCV cell. And again, every once in a while, this sort of thing happens. Someone develops a new build, or they just favor a new build. I don't think Dimon developed the Mecha Bay MCV cell from Empire. This is a build that has existed. It's just we've never seen it actually executed this successfully this many times. And this infantry component is definitely a part of it. 2 oil derricks, 2 refineries, a lot of Imperial warriors, and as much chaos as you can manage. In game number 1, we saw a couple of Javelin troopers being a powerful part of the defense, but it wasn't enough. And here, DutchArmy has opted to skip the barracks entirely, but he is going for the double airfield. It did work for Pika. The harassment is coming in. Dimon knows that the victory is so close, and he's just going to rush at it. Tengus get clobbered. One of them goes down in the sky. Vindicator's looking for a couple of more kills. The Imperial Warriors get the kill on that power plant. DutchArmy is almost overtaxed, but he is not just yet. 3 refineries means that DutchArmy is actually equal in income with Dimon. Extra power plant gets deployed, extra wall segments to keep it safe. Multi-gunner turret would be amazing, but I don't think he can quite afford it. He's almost got the cash. If he started building it, he would be able to afford it, but he does go for the wall segments instead and cuts off the attack path of those Imperial warriors. Mecha Bay goes tier 2, so the Tengu numbers have been diminished pretty significantly, and that again comes down to the dance between the Chopper VXs and the Apollos and the Vindicators. If the Chopper VXs get caught over the water by the Apollos, DutchArmy almost certainly wins this. If Dimon gets the transform just in time, like we see right there, only one Apollo pays the price, so DutchArmy isn't totally dead yet, but it's definitely looking much, much better for DutchArmy with the fact that he got that 3rd refinery. The close 3rd refinery plus the walls have absolutely saved DutchArmy. He goes for the armor facility. He doesn't go tier 2 right out of the gate to get cryocopters or anything like that. He may be going tier 2 now, but again, he's now actually ahead of Dimon in total resources gathered. And DutchArmy goes for the power plant. That's a guaranteed kill, and it does mean that he is overburdened. Dimon is now going to be in low power mode, and DutchArmy is going to be able to catch a Tengu as well. This is looking like an execution of Dimon. DutchArmy may have actually figured something out, but maybe it only works on this map where you've got that short walk to your natural expansion. Your 3rd refinery is very easy to secure, but even so, DutchArmy is not out of the woods yet. He does still have to deal with constant harassment, and the tier 2 has finished up for DutchArmy, which is good, but Dimon will not go down without a fight. Killing that power plant, it's not the game-winning move, but man, that really, really helps. Slow production for Dimon from now until the end of the game. I'm placing a bet that Dimon doesn't rebuild that MCV. I guess it's possible, but it is not likely for Dimon. Slow build on the Tengu, slow build on the Strikers. The War Factory goes down. Striker steps into that. 3 Strikers for free! No, just 1. Dimon almost kills himself by sacrificing 3 Strikers. DutchArmy buys a little bit more time with that delay tactic of a cryoblast. Peacekeepers are out. One of the Imperial Warriors goes golden there, as this multi-gunner turret may actually help break this frontline attack. Tank busters are a wonderful addition by Dimon, and he gets the IFVs, he gets the multi-gunner turret, and it's once again down to just the air units. 3rd refinery going down. Harvester is going to try and run for the hills. He's going to try and set it up, and if he could get a dog out, that would actually be amazing. Refinery goes down, and that tank buster goes heroic. Tengus get the kill on that dog immediately. Bark doesn't land, no kills there, but DutchArmy drives Dimon back. Cryocopter is out 4 Apollos and a Vindicator. Dutch Army, scrappy as anything, desperately holding on to his tournament life in this game. Killing that power plant was such a powerful move for Dutch Army. Dimon slowed production, does hurt him here, but switching into those tank busters was the perfect counteract by Dimon. Dutch Army gets a little bit of cash back with the sell-off of that command hub, and Dutch Army prioritizes another refinery. He's trying to reestablish those walls. He even shortens the run of the wall so that, it costs a little bit less money. And Dutch Army, he is in full defense mode. 5 strikers. Dimon, he's still pumping out both tank busters and Mecha Bay units, which is one of the differences of this game from the previous games. He has the added spend of the tank buster, but because his units produce slowly, it actually works out well with his economy. All right, building can be broken down now. Strikers on the front line, tank busters as well. Tsunami tank rushes forward. It's going to be able to absorb a couple of shots there. PK inside of that multi-gunner turret, but it's just not enough. And there's the transform. The strikers go for the kill on the Apollos. They're going to be able to keep that cryocopter away, or they've already gotten the kill on it. And once again, this refinery is going to be going down. No crush for that harvester. Cryocopter is still alive. The hope remains alive for Dutch Army, but it gets slimmer every second that goes by. Dimon is looking to end it, and he wants to get that final kill, take the tournament, take the finals, and another cryo shot going to be coming down on top of the tank busters. Only grabs one. Dimon doesn't walk his strikers into it this time. He lets it play out. Multi-gunner turret steps forward. Multi-gunner turret gets taken down. Tengu gets eliminated. MCV is going to be under threat. Peacekeeper heads forward. MCV is going to try and escape out the back door. The reverse move through the back door. Dutch Army, with his tournament life on the line, refuses to give up. He refuses to surrender, and he has so few units, so little of anything left. He's now almost going to be overburdened. No, he's still okay. He's got a couple of extra power plants keeping him online. Refinery going down. The economy's neck and neck, getting the kill on that. Okay, that's a good move there. One more tsunami tank denied from the front line. This airfield, possibly just an extra airfield at this point. Not a lot of air units in the roster from Dutch Army. He's got 4 air units that actually need to refuel, not counting the 2 cryocopters. And Dutch Army survives somehow? Dojo is still here. Mecha Bay is still here. Dimon has 1,300 in the bank. Dutch Army, with the engineer, the sneaky engineer in the IFV, is it going to get shrunk? Cryocopters move over, but no, I guess not. Vindicators and Apollos staying off the deck. They do not want to get caught waiting around on the ground. Engineer inside of that IFV. Dimon is looking to close it out. He's been so cautious and so careful in so many of these games. 2 tsunami tanks going to be getting pushed forward. Third one does get shrunk down, and there's a kill on 1 tsunami tank. 1 cryocopter taking a lot of damage, but ultimately it's not dead. Dutch Army sees his opportunity. He sees his opening. He is going to sneak an engineer out. No, he is not. Okay, no, he shrinks it down. All right, all right. Dutch Army is going for this sneaky cross-map play. He has snuck past every unit and every defense, and this is now the one play that may win the game. The engineer pops out at just the wrong time. The Tango doesn't realize it, and Dutch Army gets the Mecha Bay. There's the cell, and Dutch Army gets it here in game number 7 as Dimon is on the edge of victory and Dutch Army steals a Mecha Bay. Are you kidding me? Dutch Army has to survive one attack, but it is going to be all in. 4 cryocopters on the front line. Strikers going to be breaking down that defense. It's going to be PKs getting overwhelmed by these tsunamis. Peacekeepers are not going to be enough. The cryo shot fires off. It does divert those tank busters, and there is just so little here for Dutch Army. Multi-gunner turret is here. The crush may come through with this MCV. He's going to go for the delay. He's got 2 multi-gunner turrets to try and fall back on. And is that all for nothing? Is the Mecha Bay Steel for nothing? As Dutch Army comes so close to giving himself another chance, but he won't be able to find it. Dimon presses forward. Peacekeepers once again on the front line. The freeze is going to come through. Tengu's shredding the Apollos, shredding the cryocopters. The cryocopters surviving. One more Apollo spawns in, but the strikers get the kill, and Dimon will get the kill on everything that Dutch Army has. And the GG comes out, and Dimon takes the win. And this event is actually a best of 11, not a best of 9 like I thought. So Dutch Army gets one more chance, despite that amazing Mecha Bay steal, to secure his win. Despite that amazing Mecha Bay steal, Dutch Army will have one final chance to turn this around and win 4 games in a row to defeat Dimon. And that comeback will start here on Icebreaker. Dutch Army has to perform what is the equivalent of a reverse sweep in a best of 7. Dutch Army has a couple of points on the board, but with a best of 11, he still has to win 4 games in a row against Dimon, a player that everyone struggles against in a tournament setting. Dimon has been beaten, it has been done, but it does not look likely today, and Dutch Army is in good shape. He is putting out good games. That last one was pretty amazing to see, but it still just seems to never be enough. Dimon going for all kinds of very slight variations on the same all-in, on the same Mecha Bay MCV cell. And it is worked out very well, all things considered. Dutch Army goes for a very normal-looking opener. He did not even get an airfield. He instead went for the barracks. He will secure his own oil derrick this time. Dimon is almost certainly going to be looking to do that as well. And once again, we do have the MCV selected. Oh, hey, I just unselected it somehow. I wonder if Dimon sold it off. 1 minute 40 is the marker on that selection. And these Peacekeepers will have to be cleared out by these Imperial Warriors. But at least Dimon is having to pay a bit of a price for it. Dutch Army is making Dimon pay a bit of a price. And he actually does quite a bit of damage to this dojo. And yep, there's the MCV cell. And Dimon is feeling pretty good. He's got 2,500 credits in the bank, and he would be zeroed out on his bank account if that wasn't the case. Vindicator does get called in. It looked like the Vindicator just had Advanced Aeronautics upgraded after he dropped his bombs, and if so, that is pretty annoying for Dutch Army that he missed that upgrade and missed that opportunity to have a 3rd bomb in that Vindicator. Which, you know, maybe wouldn't have made the difference, but it definitely won't if you upgrade it late. Harvesters off the line. Dutch Army's economy is kaput. And, that Tengu goes down right as the Harvester is already called off the line. He's already told the Harvester, hey, don't worry about working because you're just going to get harassed by a Tengu. And instead, the Tengu goes down before it actually lands. Imperial Warriors are here, and this is exactly what tore Pika apart. Vindicator goes down, and Dutch Army here in game number 8 is looking tired, is looking feeble, and is looking like Dimon is closing in on that $200 payday. A best of 11 is a long series. You don't just win 1 or 2 games. You have to win 6, and Dutch Army is going to have to do 4 in a row. It is possible, but at this point, Dimon has such a commanding lead in this game that it would be a truly remarkable throw, perhaps for the storybooks, for the history books, if Dimon threw from this position. A couple of PKs are going to be coming back. Peacekeepers will get a couple of shots on these Tengus as they land in this battlefield, as they show up to the front line. And Tengus are just going to go back to targeting down that airfield. And yeah, this is it. Dimon closes in on Game 8, and he closes in on the first place prize for the tournament. The Masters will be coming to an end for the first time here in Red Alert 3, and it looks like Dimon will be the first Master of Red Alert 3. He has proven it many, many times over, and he has proven it yet again today. DutchArmy gets another airfield. You have to hand it to DutchArmy. He is truly never giving up. So many of these games, he stays in and he fights out as bitterly as he can. If this was, like some kind of a cryocopter and a Vindicator, maybe he would have a chance of at least doing a little bit of damage, but DutchArmy is just now back online in terms of power. He's finally back up and running. He's got his production online, but his harvesters are out to go offline as these Apollos escape the Tengus for the current moment, but truly only for a moment. The Tengus can indeed guard just the airfield and be quite confident that the Apollos won't be able to do much at all. Multi-gunner turret gets deployed, of course, behind this. DutchArmy is going to have to deal with strikers, with potentially tsunami tanks as well, not just with Tengus. And Dimon has found this 2-refinery, 2-oil derrick build that looks unbeatable. Whether or not it can be stopped, it feels like it can't. Against all of these allied players today, they cannot defeat the Empire. Tengus are too good, the MCV cell is too strong, and they have not figured out how to stop it. MCV cells can go both ways, as Dimon is going to close in on this first place prize. DutchArmy now at this point might just be they might be just sort of talking it out, saying their congratulations and their GGs, but that will do it. A big congratulations to Dimon for taking first place in Red Alert 3 Masters. DutchArmy will take second. He gets himself $100 for making it to the finals and for putting up a couple of good games against Dimon. And congratulations to DutchArmy, but a huge congratulations to Dimon. A huge, huge thanks to Mediastorm and Inspector Rage, aka Rage of Heat, for making this event happen. Mediastorm donating the $425 prize pool, including $25 random draw donation. So if someone was playing in the event, their name gets entered into a hat, a random draw happens, and someone wins $25. No matter where you place in the tournament, you could still walk home with a prize from Red Alert 3 Masters. And that will do it. Rage of Heat organizing everything super well, making this event happen, handling all of the day of stuff, and absolutely huge thanks to him. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. A great tournament, lots of great games, but a tournament finals that that left us lacking, left us wanting a little bit more. And Dimon is a powerful player, and when he plays Empire, he is an absolute monster. So thank you all very much for watching, and this is Cyber signing out.